Honorable members, prayers. Almighty God, we humbly beseech thee to look with favor upon this Parliament of the Republic of Ghana. Grant that it may perform its high duty as in their sight. Give divine guidance to the President of the Republic. Endow members of Parliament and ministers of state with discernment and vision, integrity and courage, that through the labors of government, this land and people may be well and truly served, and their good purposes for the common human life be realized in our midst. O God, grant us a vision of our country, fair as it might be, a country of righteousness, where none shall wrong his neighbor, a country of plenty, where evil and poverty shall be done away with, a country of brotherhood, where all success shall be founded on service and honor shall be given to the deserving, a country of peace, where government shall rest on the will of the people and the love for the common good. Bless the effort of those who struggle to make this vision a living reality. Inspire and strengthen our people that they may give time, thought, and sacrifice to speed the day of the coming beauty of Ghana and Africa. Amen. Honourable members, may we then go straight ahead to take the item numbered 5, correction of votes and proceedings, an official report in the absence of message from the President, formal communication by the Speaker. Honourable members, we have before us vote and proceedings of Thursday, 11th December 2025. Page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, page 5, page 6, page 7, page 8. Yes.
Honorable Speaker, page 7. Ibrahim Ahmed. I was here yesterday and I've been marked absent. Day before yesterday to see.
Very well. Honorable members, he's been marked as number 23 absent. So table office kindly take note. Page 8, page 9, page 10, page 11. Yes. Honorable Frank Afriye, you have the floor.
Speaker, thank you so much. Speaker, may I respectfully invite you to item 8B by the Honorable, after Honorable, may we delete the word deputy and instead insert minister. Thank you.
Table office, take note. Page 13, page 14. Yes, page 14.
Speaker, page 13, under motion 17. The motion moved by the minister. Before, we need to insert the word seconded and seconded by before bringing the Honorable Chairman of the committee. That's motion 17. The motion moved by the Transport Minister, Mr. Joseph Nikpe Bukari, and So we insert the word and seconded by.
Honorable member, I indicated in this House over and over that at second reading, we don't second the motion, but we present the committee's report. So whatever is captured here is the correct position. There is no need indicating that the motion is seconded. And if you look at the marginal note, it says that the Road Traffic Amendment Bill 2025 be now read a second time. So at second reading, you don't second. Please let us all take note. Page 14, page 15, page 16, yes. Honorable Professor Kingsley Nyako.
Well, now, Speaker Bernard Ahiafo. Now, Speaker, a small observation on page 11, even though it is very minor, probably I'll seek your guidance on that. If you look at item 11 on the motion, a committee on public administration and state interest. If you look at order 207X, the interest has S, ending S, so it's plural. But if you go to order 261, the singular form is captured. Looking at the votes and proceedings, the singular version is what is captured. I mean, it conforms to the order. But my point is that this committee name, one is plural, one is singular. Public interest and state interest. Then public administration and state interest, and public administration and state interest is singular. In this, it's only the singular that is captured, but there is conflict in the standing orders regarding 207X and 261.
Well, we can reconcile, but for me, guided by the Interpretation Act, singular means plural. So, table office should do the reconciliation. Yes.
Honorable Speaker, with your leave, let me bring you back to page 6. I have been marked absent.
Honorable Asafo, you are taking me far back.
That is why I respectfully ask that I do so with your leave.
So, you were present?
Yes, please.
Table office, take note.
Thank you.
Now, page 16. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, I need your guidance on this, please. I usually will hear you say that the draftsmen should take note. But on page 16, the Honorable First Deputy Speaker directed the draftsperson. I want your guidance on this. I just heard you say singular means plural and plural.
Well,
It's not in that category. Okay.
well, it depends upon whoever is at the chamber as the draft person. So at that material moment, I may say the draft men, when those who are here are all men. But if those who are here are mixed, so I may say draft persons or draft person, since singular means plural. But going forward, I think we should be using the word draft person so that we'll be gender neutral. And I know Haji Aladi is happy because going forward, I'm going to be gender neutral.
Mr. Speaker, it's really not about the gender aspect of it. It's about whether it's one person or a group of people.
So if one person is sitting down as a draft person, how do you want me to put it? If two or more are sitting down as draft persons. How do you want to put it? Because they sit on my far right, and I see them.
Okay. So in this case, it was just one person?
Yes, probably.
All right, okay.
Yes,
That's
yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
So I will be using the terminology draft person going forward. Very well. Page 17, page 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, and 28. Honorable members, page 27. The first Deputy Speaker directed the draft person to provide a definition for learners with special needs. Honorable members, the draft person accordingly provided the following definition for learners with special needs. It reads, learners with special needs means learners who require specialized accommodation, support, or services that are not usually provided for other learners due to physical, mental, intellectual, or sensory impairments. And this definition is for your consideration. Honorable members, if there are no view, we need to adopt that particular definition, and it is this definition that will appear in the interpretation column of the bill that will come before us. Honorable members, in the absence of any contrary view, we will adopt the definition together with the vote and proceedings.
Mr. Speaker, in adopting it, I was just wondering, in between intellectual or, but I'm consulting with a medical doctor, emotional. Are they autistic patient? How do you describe them? It's not emotional.
Yeah, emotional.
I thought emotional would have come before sensory impairment, but I'm consulting with the doctor, Mr. Speaker. But it will satisfy what was raised by the Deputy Leader and Honorable Ahmed and our colleagues. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, the vote and proceedings of Thursday, 11 December 2025, as corrected, is hereby adopted as the true record of proceedings. Honorable members, I also have in my hand the official reports of Tuesday, 2nd December 2025 for your correction. Honorable members, any correction? Honorable members, in the absence of any correction, the official reports of Tuesday, 2nd December 2025 is hereby adopted as the true record of proceedings. Honorable members, with your indulgence, I acknowledge the presence of students from Little Angel Montessori, their leader, is Priscilla Owusu Amuaku, headmistress. They are from Weja, Bawe. Honorable Jerry Shaib Ahmed, please take note. Your students are here, and they numbered 63. Honorable members, we also have a student from Sogakope Senior High School, led by Sebastian Ashiagbo, a teacher. They are from South Tong, they numbered 67. An honorable member for South Tong, you may be on your feet for your students to see. And thereafter, you are expected to do the needful. Honorable members, we also have students from Alavanyo Senior High Technical School, led by Roland Katapu, chairperson, and they are from Owe constituency. The number 68. I hope Honorable Walanyo Cheko is very well. That is Afajato South.
Yes, Speaker, he's my neighbor, and he's on assignment somewhere, so I'll be doing the needful on his behalf.
Very well, very well. Then you are tasked with that responsibility. Honorable members, on your behalf, I welcome our dear students to Parliament of Ghana and wish them a very fruitful visit to Parliament. Once again, you are most welcome. Honorable Majority Leader, at this point, any indication?
We will do the business statement.
Very well. Honorable members, business statement. I will call on the chairman of the business committee, Honorable Majority Leader, Leader of Government Business.
Right Honorable Speaker, thank you for the opportunity to present the business statement for the week ending Friday, 12 December 2025. Your committee met on Thursday, 4th December 2025, and arranged the business as follows. That the Right Honourable Speaker may read any available communication to the House, that we will schedule 42 questions, 6 from the Minister for Food and Agriculture, 3 for the Minister of State in charge of public sector reforms, 10 questions to the Minister for Roads and Highways, 4 to the Minister for Trade, Agribusiness and Industry, 3 to the Minister for Labor, Jobs and Employment, 2 for the Minister of State in charge of Government Communications, 10 for the Minister for Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, and 4 to the Minister for Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts. They are all oral questions. None of them is urgent. In all, 8 ministers are expected in the House to answer questions. Pursuant to Order 91-2, ministers of state may be permitted to make statements on government policy. You may also admit statements by honorable members in accordance with Order 93. Bills, papers, and reports. Mr. Speaker, in accordance with Order 159, bills may be presented to the House for first reading. However, those of urgent nature may be taken through the various stages in a day in accordance with Order 160. And pursuant to Order 97, papers may be laid during the week and reports from committees may also be presented to the House for consideration. Mr. Speaker, motions may be debated and their consequential resolutions, if any, taken during the week. Mr. Speaker, the Business Committee acknowledges the hard work of the chairpersons of committees who have presented the reports on the budget estimates of the various sectors and entreats those yet to report on the estimates to expedite action to facilitate the passage of the Appropriation Bill 2026 before the House adjourns sine die. Mr. Speaker, chairpersons of committees are once again entreated to schedule committee sittings in the mornings before noon to ensure full participation of honorable members at plenary. Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, in accordance with Order 2162 and subject to Order 67, the committee submits to the House the order in which the business of the House shall be taken during the week. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, the business statement is ably presented. It is now for the members to comment. Honourable members, we welcome comment on the business statement starting from Honourable Eko Safwa.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, my first commentary will be on the business statement for last 2 weeks, last week and this week.
Yes, Majority Leader.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, I figured out that there was a mix-up because what I read actually is the business statement for last week. And I realized it when I got to the last but one paragraph and then saw something about Farmers' Day. Then I figured out that I had mixed up the statements. They were all on my desk, and so I mixed them up. But essentially, it's the same, except that the questions are 41 instead of 44. So there are 41 questions, and they are asked of the Ministers of Food and Agriculture, Ministers of State in charge of public sector reforms, roads and highways, government communications, labor, jobs and employment, local government, chieftaincy and religious affairs, trade, agribusiness and industry, and tourism, culture, and creative arts. Mr. Speaker, apart from that, everything else applies. Mr.
Yes,
Speaker, thank you.
But Honorable Majority Leader, what I have is the business statement for the 9th week, ending Friday 19th.
Yes, so that's what I'm now reading.
That is the correct one.
Yes, that's the one I'm reading.
Over here to the number of questions is same 41.
Yes, same, yes, 41. Yes, so that's what I'm saying, that everything else applies.
Very well. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, Majority Leader, for the correction. So that will take me to my second observation. Right Honourable Speaker, I have in my hands the business statement for last 2 weeks, last week. I had 2 questions. Those 2 questions cannot be found in the business statement today, but it was not taken. 2 new questions that are filed has been programmed to be taken the next week. As to whether it's going to be taken or not, I cannot really be sure. I'm saying so because of how, at least for the past 1 month, the business, or if you like, the program for the House has been like. There are a number of questions and a number of statements that has been advertised for more than a month, and it has not been taken. And so I'll plead on the Majority Leader to look at that. Secondly, there is another important public issue. Right Honourable Speaker, Yesterday, I saw a letter from the presidency, which letter was to the effect that
Honorable member, I have the cause to admonish that going by the rules that governs the House,
yes,
business statement is statement, and statement time is statement time.
yes,
It is statement time that allows you to come under Standing Order 93 to draw the attention of the House to a matter of urgent public importance. But when we are considering a business statement, it should strictly be a business statement, unless the rules that governs the House point to the contrary.
Right Honorable Speaker, respectfully, this is my 5th year in this House. There are times that we are given an opportunity to suggest to the majority leader an issue that the majority leader, by way of amending the business statement, can bring a minister or an independent constitutional body to this House to answer to questions that are of public importance.
I also believed strongly last week the majority leader and leader of government business, in a very clear and certain words, very ambiguous in nature, that if you want an independent constitutional body or a minister to be brought to this particular House, as a member of parliament, the rules are clear as to what you are supposed to do. That was the indication, clearly to the understanding of all of us. So, majority leader will ask, you are asking me to bring the minister to come and respond to an issue. Is that the means known to the rules by which the minister will come and respond to the issue and do a briefing? So the rules are clear. If you want the minister to come urgently, the rules guide you as to what you should do. But it is not so motu business committee, I am programming a minister, come and respond to what issue. So please, let's use the rules and take advantage of the rules, and we will all not have a problem.
Right Honorable Speaker, I agree with you, but with the greatest of respect. That is why when I started, I made mention of the fact that this is my 5th year in the House. Whilst I agree that the rules allow for a member who believes that there's an issue for us to be able to deal with, will bring the minister to this floor. Right Honorable Speaker, in my 5 years in this House, we have always allowed members to appeal to
Honorable member, in order to cut a long story short, pick up the rules and point at the circumstances that allows me to order the business statement to be varied by bringing a member, a minister, or independent constitutional bodies to come when commenting on a business statement.
Right Honorable Speaker, my point is a very simple one. A very simple one, and if you indulge me, with the greatest of respect.
Honorable member, my point is also a very simple one.
I agree.
You see, too much of everything is bad. And I think once the House came into a conclusion that we should apply the rules, business statement is business statement. I will take comment on the business statement. If it is not a comment on the business statement,
right,
then please,
let me go to
I
the
will
next
plead
point.
with you to kindly resume your seat.
Right.
But
so,
if it is comment, go ahead and make your comment on the business statement.
right, so I'll go to my next point. Just about 2 weeks ago, it was agreed it was agreed in this House that by way of the business statement, the majority leader is going to call on the Minister for Education to come to this House to respond to the woeful performance of our young ones when they wrote the West African Examination Council examination. We were promised by the majority leader that he is going to look into that to make sure that it is programmed for the Minister for Education to come to the floor to deal with that matter. As we speak, that matter has not been discussed. And so, if it is possible, I will appeal to the majority leader to find a way to program that for the Minister of Education to come to the House to be able to deal with that matter. Honorable Speaker, respectfully, my next point has nothing to do with the business statement, but it's very important.
Honorable member, if it has nothing to do with the business statement, with all due respect, for today, kindly resume your seat. Yes, Honorable Professor Kingsley Nyanko.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. That we've been restricted regarding how to handle business statements. That is not cool, but it's okay. However, on the business statement, on pages 6 and 7, there's a matter. I'm using the mic, yeah. So I'm saying that on the business statement, pages 6 and 7, 2 questions from me have been advertised today to be answered by the Minister for Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, and also the Minister for Trade and Industry and Agribusiness. Mr. Speaker, these 2 questions have been scheduled time and time again, but I'm not able to ask these questions. And they've been rescheduled to next week. What is the guarantee that next week these same questions that have been programmed on 3 different occasions are going to be responded to? For me, it is worrying that you prepare to come to ask questions, then you are dodged. You cannot ask the questions. Then they are rescheduled. And I'm hoping that today they'll be handled. But I'm not convinced because these same questions have been reprogrammed for next week. I'm talking about questions 313 and 316. My major concern has to do with question 313. I said last week that, Mr. Speaker, I asked 3 related questions regarding our religious institutions, their number and how many are registered. The week prior to programming the first one on shrines, 2 of them, including the one on mosque, had been programmed on the business statement. Sadly, only one, the one on shrine came. Now, assuming I'm not able to ask the same question today, next week is about the churches. Where is the question on mosque? My point is that when questions are related, intuitively, it is appropriate to, table them or program them at the same time to make more meaning. Now, you've left out the one on mosque. How would the public even see the essence and relevance of the question? So my suggestion is that such questions must be programmed together. Mr. Speaker, otherwise, I would be not happy if today I leave here without asking these questions, because there's no guarantee that next week is going to be taken. And the more this goes on, it means that the questions are going to be piled up. And the Speaker will direct that we shouldn't even ask more than one supplementary question. And that in itself defeats the purpose of asking questions. asking questions is not for fun, or it's not something of aesthetic value. It is supposed to bring some relief to the recipients of the questions and the wider society. So, Speaker, these are the issues that I have. The others, because of your directive, I'll leave it. And I hope that God will help me, that I'll have a more convenient time to ask these questions. But I cannot fight against leadership decision. We need to provide a conducive, friendly environment to the benefit of us all. And the leader of the House, very cool and calm, should be able to allow us to ask questions, regardless of whether they are on the business statement, especially when they are relevant. Mr. Speaker, thank you for giving me this brief space.
But Honorable Professor Kingsley Nyako, you know that if one member asks 3 or 4 questions, and all these questions are admitted, depending upon the number of questioners, that's the number of members who are to ask questions, all your 4 questions may not be taken at a go, so that other members should equally be given an opportunity to also ask the question. 2, if all the questions are not relating to the same subject matter, they put the questions together and program the ministers to come and provide answers to those questions. So if 2 of your questions go to Minister A and 2 go to Minister B, and it is Minister B that is scheduled to come and respond to the questions, it will be totally impossible to schedule the other 2 questions whose minister is not scheduled to come and respond to the question to be answered. So these are administrative issues that as members of parliament, I feel we know. 2, if your question appears on the other paper and it has not been answered, the following other paper did not indicate the question to be answered, all you need to do is to make a gentle approach to the table office and resolve that particular issue with them. We admit the questions for processing. So they are in charge of processing the questions to be answered. Instead of doing that, you then come to the floor to raise the issue. I do not know how the chamber will be able to address the issue. So I would advise that in the circumstances, they are also human beings. It may be as a result of omission. You can draw their attention to it, and some of these things will be done at the background. Yes, Honorable Deputy Whip.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the majority leader is smiling, and it's a beautiful Friday afternoon. So when he's smiling, it means that he's ready to listen to what I want to say. Mr. Speaker, on Tuesday, the Business Committee programmed a lot of motions and bills. First reading of the appropriation bill on page 2, the 24-hour economy authority bill on page 3, and then the petroleum revenue management amendment bill 2025. Majority Leader, I don't know whether all these bills, it is your committee recommendation that we finish all these bills
because on page 8, you said we are adjourning Senate DA on the 19th. And also, Mr. Speaker, on Wednesday, you have tabled a number of bills to look at: the Bank of Ghana bill, the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology bill 2025. Mr. Speaker, the other thing is that Parliament is a house of records. The majority leader was on his feet, and he said that he is going to introduce a private member's bill to repeal the OSP. I have seen that you said we are adjourning on Friday, but I cannot find that bill in here. I want to find out from you whether you are abandoning it or not. And also, Mr. Speaker, I'm aware that the private members' bill and motion committee, able chaired by you, sat on this matter to the effect that you wanted to see the legality of the repeal of the OSP Act. And we know with the constitutionality about it, and then your committee will advise, Mr. Speaker, whether it is admissible or it should be allowed or not. And Mr. Speaker, I'm aware that there is a request to the majority leader and the majority chief whip to abandon the repeal of the OSP. I want to find out from the majority leader whether he will still introduce the repeal of the OSP or he will not, because he stated in here that he will be introducing it. So if you will not introduce it again based on the request of the president, and we know that our majority leader, excuse my language, if it is the case that the majority leader doesn't have a mind of his own at the moment, if it is the case that the majority leader doesn't have a mind of his own, he should let us know, and that he will not be introducing the repeal of the OSP bill again. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Well, in the absence of any further comment, yes.
Speaker, thank you so much. Speaker, may I also thank the chairman for the business committee, and I pray sincerely that the concern I have is admissible before you within the context of the business statement. Speaker, as we prepare to rise Senate Day, I wish to propose to the committee, and for that matter, all the relevant stakeholders, that we consider a fumigation exercise during the recess time. The President of Parliament is heavily interested.
Honorable member, look at the business statement before us and tell me the aspect of the business statement that talk about fumigation.
Speaker, my understanding is that it's the business statement that will ferry concerns of
Honorable
this nature.
member, please resume your seat.
Thank you, sir.
Are you an environmentalist?
My dear honorable member, you know the practice. When we move to the back to the front bench, I am not the type that will go back to the back bench. So kindly resume your seats. Honorable Jerry, I will give you the benefit of the doubt.
Speaker, thank you very much. Speaker, you've been very magnanimous today, and it feels like it's going to be a good day. Speaker, I have just perused the business statement, and want to commend the majority leader for bringing all of this to the fore. But Speaker, there is something that, if you go to page 2, under committee reports on referrals, Speaker, your committee on health, Speaker, deliberated largely on making provisions for about 10 of the Agenda 1.1 hospitals. And Speaker, they left out something which is very critical, and that has to do with the Way Jagbawe Pediatric Hospital. Speaker, as we speak, Joy FM has reported today that there is termination of that contract, and that is the only pediatric hospital here in Greater Accra, apart from the Princess Marie Louis Hospital. And that project is almost completed. It's almost completed, Speaker. As we speak, that has been reported that the contract has been terminated and they are not going to proceed. It's a World Bank contract, and they are not going to proceed to finish that project. And Speaker, as a man with love for children, your good self, I pray that you call on the
Honorable
health minister.
Honorable Jerry Ahmed Shaib.
Speaker,
I maintain here that if a procedure is set down for a right to be exercised, it is that procedure that will have to be followed in exercising the rights. The indication is that Health Committee may submit a report for consideration of the House. Until and unless that report is submitted, how would the House be able to know whether what you are talking about was part of the deliberations? These are the recommendations coming from the committee. So I believe the issue that you are raising, for all intent and purposes, is premature.
Speaker, I take a cue, save that you know that some things can be belated. They can be late. It is a genuine and very honest submission.
I am not saying it is dishonest.
Yes, Speaker, I'm only saying
I'm not saying it is not genuine, but I'm talking about the time, the period within which the issue is being raised. So let's wait, and all of us will abide by the report of the Health Committee.
Speaker,
you seem to be talking about the report before it is even late.
Very well, Speaker. Speaker, I thank you.
I will call on the leader of government business to respond to issues, and then we can have the business statement adopted.
Thank you very much. I think the question about bringing ministers and independent constitutional bodies to brief the House has been adequately addressed by the Speaker, drawing attention to the relevant standing orders regarding how we get ministers and leaders of independent constitutional bodies to come to the House and answer questions or brief us on urgent matters of concern. I also think the question that Professor Nyako asked about his questions that have been listed are pertinent. Indeed, we've been advertising the questions for quite a while now, but also we have been advertising the answers. We've been advertising the answers to the same questions. And so I think for a while now, you've also had the benefit of reading the answers to your questions. So we only are left with the minister coming to read the answers, but the answers are equally advertised. So you have your answers already, except that they haven't been read to you by the minister. In due course, the minister will come and read the answers to you, and if you have follow-up questions emanating from the answers, he can answer those ones as well. And Honorable Habib asked a question about the Office of Special Prosecutor repeal bill. Indeed, it is true that we raised the issue in this chamber. There was comment on both sides of the House, and there appeared to be some consensus about dealing with the office by way of reconsidering the existence of the office. The Speaker then gave an indication that we know what to do as a House if we feel strongly about whether an institution should exist or cease to exist. Pursuant to that, I did submit a request to the Speaker to grant approval for a private member's bill calling for the repeal of the office to be considered by the Committee on Private Members' Bills. And the committee did sit, because when I submitted the bill to the Speaker, co-signed by my colleague, the Majority Chief Whip, Speaker did refer the bill to the Private Members Committee. The Private Members Committee sat on the bill and gave approval for us to lay the bill, and I signed it. It is true also that yesterday there was a statement, not a letter, a statement by His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama requesting that I reconsider my decision. Mr. Speaker, we all know that 2 heads are better than 1. The popular saying is that 2 heads are better than 1. So if His Excellency the President also has some thoughts about it, and I also add mine to his, I believe together we can find a better way of managing the situation. So I can assure you that I will take on board the request by His Excellency the President for us to think about our action. And I can assure you that I have always had confidence in the wisdom of the President. I have always had confidence in the wisdom of the President. Indeed, if I didn't believe in his wisdom, I wouldn't have voted him to be a president. And so, on the basis of the request made to me by His Excellency the President and my colleague, the Majority Chief Whip, I want to assure you that we will reconsider our decision. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the Majority Leader. I want to thank the Majority Leader for responding and also stating on record about the events that surrounding, unfolding, and leading to this repeal of the OSP. But what he has not been able to answer from my question is that you stated here that you will be introducing it. So can you now state whether you will still restate it or you will not? Make it clear. After the instructions, after the request from the President, will you still introduce it or you will take it out?
Honorable Habib, I think I don't intend to give the floor to the Majority Leader. Our rules are clear as to the procedures to have a private member's bill or private member's motion introduced. From your own statement, they have done what they are supposed to do. It was referred to a committee chaired by me. So the rest is internal procedure. So it doesn't lie in the mouth of the sponsor of the bill to determine whether I will introduce or I will not introduce. If the bill should fail any of the tests based on which a private member's bill is supposed to be introduced in this House, it has its own implication. If the bill passed the text, it also has its own implication. So far as we are concerned and what we have perused, the bill is in the process and will be given a further consideration. Honourable members, business statement as presented is hereby adopted. Yes, Majority Leader. Honorable members, can we turn to commencement of public business and look at order paper addendum and complete the exercise on the Virtual Asset Service Provider Bill 2025.
Speaker, I was trying to catch your eye so that before we take the order paper addendum, the business on order paper addendum, we lay papers slated under 9A and 9B quickly. Then we go to the order paper addendum, Mr. Speaker. Humbly requested.
Very well. At commencement of public business, presentation of papers, item numbered 9. Minister responsible for communication, digital technology, and innovation.
Mr. Speaker, the Minister for Communications was just here. So, Speaker, may I pray that in his absence, the Minister for Roads does this on his behalf, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Deputy Minority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I don't know why they always want to call the road minister, because he was our colleague in leadership, so it makes it very difficult for us to oppose. But where is the communication minister? And he knows that he has business in the chamber and he ran away. So, Mr. Speaker, we have no objection. The road minister can do that.
Mr.
Yes.
Speaker, I sent the communication minister on an important errand. If you have issues, I can ask him to come back.
So are you going to answer this question? Should the minister come back?
Mr. Speaker, the road minister can do that.
Very well. Minister for Roads and Highways, item numbered 9A.
Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the Ghana Meteorological Agency for the year 2024.
Honourable members, the annual statement has been duly presented. It is referred to the Committee on Information and Communication for consideration and report. Item numbered 9B.
Report of the Finance Committee on the Petroleum Revenue Management Amendment Number 2 Bill 2025.
Honourable members, the report has been duly presented. It is for distribution to members. Yes, Majority Chief Whip.
Speaker, may we now turn to order paper addendum and take item number 1 motion, that's the virtual access bill, that it should be read for the third time, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Motion numbered 1, Minister for Finance. Order paper addendum.
Mr. Speaker, I seek your leave to do that on behalf of my minister. Thank you.
Leave is hereby granted. Honorable Deputy Minister for Finance, you have
Thank
the
you,
floor.
Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I move that the Virtual Asset Service Providers Bill 2025 be now read the third time. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, motion move for third reading of the Virtual Asset Service Providers Bill 2025. Any seconder?
Mr. Speaker, I write to second the motion.
Honourable members, motion moved and seconded. It is for the consideration of the House. Honourable members, I'll put a question. As many as are in favor of the motion, say aye. Those against, say no. The ayes have it. The motion is adopted.
An act to regulate the provision of a virtual asset service in or from the country and to provide for related matters.
Honourable members, the Virtual Asset Service Providers Bill 2025 is duly read the third time and passed.
Lawyer Piaget, you can now speak. You can speak. We are listening. I think you should usually go to this part of it.
I should leave them. Okay. Let me take that.
Yes, Majority Chief Whip.
Speaker, let me pray you that we take the item on order paper addendum 2 so that we can lay the report from the House Committee, Mr. Speaker.
Very well.
Mr. Speaker, we don't have any difficulty with that.
Yes, Chairman of the Committee.
Report of the House Committee on an orientation workshop on the status of facilities and services available to members of Parliament for the smooth discharge of their mandates.
Honourable members, the report has been duly presented and it is for distribution to honourable members of the House. Yes, Majority Chief Whip.
Speaker, the Deputy Minority Leader has a short but very important statement. So I want to pray you to go back to item number 8 on the order paper statements so that we take that quickly, then we can return to government business, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable member, it appears I do not have the statement by the... You said that the statement is standing in the name of Deputy Minority or Majority Leader?
Oh, Deputy Minority Leader, Mr.
Very
Speaker.
well, very well. I, in effect, have two statements. One is statement by Honourable Abla Jifa Gomashi, Minister for Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts, on the inscription of High Life music. And the other one was in the name of Honorable Patricia Apiaje on upholding the rule of law and due process in Ghana's democratic system. So they say ladies first, and both makers of the statement are ladies. So I'll give the preference to my right, Honorable Abla Jifa Gomashi, to make her statement, after which I'll give the floor to the Deputy Minority Leader. Honorable Minister, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. It is with profound honor that I announce this august House the inscription of High Life as an intangible cultural heritage of humanity originating from Ghana. Mr. Speaker, I wish to begin by acknowledging UNESCO for its continued dedication to safeguarding the cultural expressions that define and enrich societies. Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity to read this statement. It is with profound honor that I announce to this august House the inscription of High Life as an intangible cultural heritage of humanity originating from Ghana. Mr. Speaker, I wish to begin by acknowledging UNESCO for its continued dedication to safeguarding the cultural expressions that define and enrich societies. Ghana is especially grateful for this recognition of high life music and dance by UNESCO. This acknowledgement not only affirms our history, but also strengthens our cultural identity and our place within the global creative landscape. Mr. Speaker, high life music and dance emerged in the early 20th century in the coastal regions of Ghana, evolving from indigenous rhythms, storytelling traditions, and the musical influences that accompanied our own sociocultural transformations. It blended local melodies with brass band elements, guitar rhythms, and later urban band styles. High Life became the soundtrack of Ghana's independence movement, a symbol of national pride and a cultural bridge connecting generations. Over the decades, Mr. Speaker, High Life has inspired numerous other African and global musical genres, shaped the continent's musical identity, and contributed to Ghana's international cultural footprint. Mr. Speaker, High Life music and dance are not merely artistic expressions, but they are sources of livelihood and engines of socio-economic development. Across generations, High Life has, 1, created employment for musicians, dancers, sound engineers, instrument makers, event organizers, fashion designers, lawyers, accountants, cultural educators, etc. 2, it has supported thousands more directly through hospitality, tourism, nightlife industries, media productions, and cultural events. 3, inspired festivals, concerts, and cultural tourism, activities that stimulate local economies in cities and communities across Ghana. And 4, attracted global attention by drawing researchers, cultural tourists, and music enthusiasts to contribute to Ghana's creative economy. Mr. Speaker, High Life, simply put, continues to feed families, build careers, and sustain communities. Mr. Speaker, the Ministry of Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts and its implementing agencies remain steadfast in its commitment to promoting, preserving, and advancing our cultural heritage. The recognition of High Life by UNESCO strengthens our resolve to do even more. The Ministry of Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts, in collaboration with sister ministries, will continue to develop policies and programs aimed at strengthening documentation, research, and archiving traditional knowledge. We will support practitioners and traditional communities who keep our heritage alive. Mr. Speaker, the ministry is also working hard to establish frameworks to protect intellectual property and the rights of cultural practitioners. Finally, Mr. Speaker, we are making preparations to nominate additional Ghanaian cultural expressions for UNESCO's intangible cultural heritage lists, ensuring that more of our traditions, festivals, crafts, and performing arts receive global recognition. These efforts form part of Ghana's broader strategy to elevate the creative economy, empower communities, and position culture as a driver of sustainable development. Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, I wish to humbly remind Ghanaians that intangible cultural heritage is a living force, and it is what holds the key to unlocking the potentials that we have. It shapes who we are today and guides who we can become tomorrow. I cannot conclude, Mr. Speaker, without thanking His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama, under whose leadership Ghana has achieved this historic success, to thank the Vice President, Her Excellency Professor J. Nanopo Kwajiman, who loves to dance to high-life music like my good self, the Chief of Staff, Julius Deborah, my very able Deputy Minister, Honorable Yusuf Issa Kajaja, directors and staff of the Ministry of Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts, and all its agencies, especially the Folklore Board led by Mr. Felix Ijavon. Mr. Speaker, with your kind leave, may I request that you permit me to ask this august House observe a moment of silence in remembrance of the late Dr. Wusu, Nana Mpedu, Charles Fosu, Kojo Fosu, Na Amanua, and Daddy Lumba, amongst others, who have played their part and passed on, but indeed we remember them for contributing immensely to this feat that we have achieved. May our collective efforts continue to celebrate and respect diversity, strengthen unity, and secure a proud future for the generations that follow. Mr. Speaker, if you have your permission, that we stand for and observe a moment's silence, I'll appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Honourable members, I am inclined to grant the request. Let's finish the statement, take the comment, and then we can observe the minute.
I'm grateful, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much.
Honourable members, that is a statement on the floor. We'll now take comment. Yes, Honourable Dakumensa.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. Mr. Speaker, we all know that, like she said, our life actually emerged from the coastal areas. And everybody knows that one area that was very solid for high life music was the Western region. In fact, you can talk about the likes of C.K. Man, Papa Yankson, Pat Thomas, Felix Owusu, and currently, the reigning high life champion, Kofi Kenata. So for me, we are happy that UNESCO has recognized high life as a Ghanaian original artwork. And I believe that it is time as a country that we'll start looking at new ways of monetizing high life properly. Because if you take a lot of the lives of the older generation, even though artistically they were very brilliant, economically they did not really actually have the economic wherewithal in their olden ages. Mr. Speaker, high life is timeless. In fact, if you take the work that high life has been able to support other genres, you see that high life is really timeless. In fact, if as a music student at Infanspim, I know that if you want to recognize a song as a high life, it is that little bit that goes like ka, 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 ka in the music. That shows that this is high life. In fact, Afrobeat, which is a faster version of high life, also came from high life. And usually Afrobeat will go like ka, 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 ka. So that's Afrobeat. Mr. Speaker, Today, as we speak, we know that hip life is also a modification of the high life general. So we can see that there's that connection that connects the dots, that if you get the high life solid, the other genres can also develop and also can be monetized for the good of society. Mr. Speaker, I'm a bigger fan of CK Man's Ajua Yankee, Ye, Ajua Yankee. You see that song? You get that song, yeah. Yeah, so Mr. Speaker, I believe that it is time that we support the high life because currently, as you see it, only a few artists are actually engaged in high life. And if you are not careful, it might die off. So I believe that we have to have a certain strategic arrangement to make sure that we can easily or quickly pick those who are showing promise in that area, support them to grow, and make sure that they can deliver more for this country. Mr. Speaker, I've been associated with music for a very long time. You know, my grandmother actually set up the first nightclub in Takrady. And in her days, High Life was the key songs that were being played before the foreign music came. And then now we are getting a better, effective promotion of hip life also joining in. So, Mr. Speaker, I believe that this is a very good progress we've made as a country. But like we all know, most musicians in Ghana are always complaining that they are not getting real value for their labor. And I'm talking about intellectual property. Every time Gamro and the rest come up, they seem always to be accused of not organizing the monetary aspect for artists in this country. And I believe that the ministry might have to quickly look at that particular area to make sure that the investment our artists actually put in these works, especially in old age, they can accrue some benefits that can sustain their lives so that other generations or younger generations can also learn from them and also start contributing artistically to this country. In America, music is money, and we should be able to make that same here in Ghana. With these few years, Mr. Speaker, I thank you for this opportunity to contribute to the Minister of Tourism's effort in promoting high life music. Thank you very much.
All members, on this note, can we observe a minute silence? Honorable members, may the required souls rest in perfect peace. Amen. I will now give the floor to Honorable Patricia Apiaji. And I would open comment on this, subject to some limitations.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity, and I stand on Order 93-1 to make a matter of urgent public issue on this particular statement that I'm making. Mr. Speaker, the standing law and procedure in the courts and in the parts of Parliament of Ghana is that when a matter or a process is the subject matter of a suit pending before a court of competence jurisdiction, no one should do anything to take any step whatsoever until all the process a party is entitled to have been exhausted. In short, the status quo ante should be maintained at all costs. Mr. Speaker, every suit has a subject matter. If at any stage one party decides to destroy the subject matter of the suit while the suit is still pending before a court, so as to render a possible decision of the court nugatory, the offender is guilty of contempt and will be punished by the law. Mr. Speaker, a party for whom a judgment has been given in a land case cannot enter the land and pull down the building thereon while on appeal has been filed and a motion for the stay of execution is pending before any court with jurisdiction over any aspect of the case. Mr. Speaker, in fact, the law and its practice herein affects any due process whatsoever, including what is known as prerogative, rates, certiorari, mandamus, prohibition, and quo warranto. If a party is of the view that a judge has made a decision which exceeds his powers or is illegal or has given a party a cow while the party brought a suit demanding a goat, the defendant may file a prerogative writ to quash the judgment and also file an appeal and an application for stay of execution. No court in the civilized world will allow the party for whom judgment has been given for the cow to slaughter it while there is any process touching and concerning the matter before the court. Mr. Speaker, it is a fundamental principle of law that all things being equal, the position in which the parties were before a civil suit began should be kept during the pendency of the suit. If the contrary is done, the law of the jungle will reign and justice will be abused. Mr. Speaker, let us ask ourselves in the case before us, if the appeal court should give a judgment that nothing improper happened during the election and that the election's result must stand, or that a rerun must be done in only the few polling stations which the plaintiff himself made the subject matter of the suit, saying those were the places the irregularities had occurred, what should we do? In the meantime, the EC, in indecent and unlawful haste, would have conducted an election, and the person who has lost the case, according to the law, has now been sworn in as an MP. Ghana will become a lawless jungle. Mr. Speaker, this is what happened in Honorable Cynthia Mamle Morrison's case. Honorable Dan Abudabi, the late Honorable Sekunde, James Dachekwesi, as well as other cases. Each MP remained in Parliament till the cases were fully finished in court. Mr. Speaker, what is playing out now has never happened in this Fourth Republic, and we are throwing the rule of law to the dogs. Illegality and populist brutality, typical of PNDC days, should not be countenanced. Mr. Speaker, it is for this reason that we in the minority were pleasantly surprised when the Right Honorable Speaker Bagbe could supervise the release of the letter by the Clerk of Parliament.
Honorable Member,
Yes.
I think you have ended the statement that is before me.
Yes.
What you are adding is not part of the statement that was brought before me to admit.
Mr. Speaker, is that? Okay. Mr. Speaker, I would like us, as a House and as a country, what I'm adding is that we should ensure
Honorable
upholding
Member. the rules
of
does
our
not
law
demand
and
that
process
when your
due-
statement is admitted, you go beyond what
Right.
has been
Thank
admitted.
You
Thank you very
Mr.
much.
Speaker, for that.
Honorable members, having not seen anybody on his feet, that brings us to the end of the statement. Yes, Deputy Majority Leader.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to crave your indulgence so that we go back to the main order paper, item number 34 on page 19 of the main order paper. Thank you.
Honorable members, item numbered 34. Motion. Minister
Speaker,
for Finance.
I beg to move that the Petroleum Revenue Management Amendment number 2 Bill 2025 be now read a second time. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Motion moved. May I call on the chairman of the committee to present the committee's report.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity to present to your committee's report. Mr. Speaker, I call on the Answer Department to capture the entire report as having been read, whilst I touch on observations at page 2 of the report. Mr. Speaker, I'm reading item 6.3. The ministry informed the committee that Parliament has approved the International Advisory Council's advice to include new qualified instruments for investment of Ghana petroleum funds. However, the definition of qualified instrument under Section 61 of Act 815 did not allow any other qualified instrument to be added to the existing instruments. There is the need to amend Section 61 of Act 815 to expand the range of qualified instruments to be used for investing the Ghana Petroleum Fund. The minister indicated that the bill will enable the minister to add any new qualified instruments through the issuance of an executive instrument. Mr. Speaker, item 6.4, head note, expected increase in investment returns. The committee also observed that for the past 15 years, only 1% has been earned from the investment of the petroleum funds. Amending 815 will provide more options for investing into high-yielding portfolios. It is expected that the new instrument will enable the state to earn more than 10% annual on investment. Mr. Speaker, this is the reason why we are trying to amend at 815, respectively submitted. Thank you very much.
Honourable members, motion move report presented for the second reading of the Petroleum Revenue Management Amendment number 2, Bill 2025. It is now to be debated by the House. I will therefore welcome full debate on the issue. Yes, Honorable Jerry Ahmed Shaib.
Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. Speaker, I do not respectfully think that we have the numbers to continuously conduct business of this House. Speaker, with your leave, I therefore come under Order 64.1 and ask that the quorum should be conducted, people should be called in for us to count the numbers here. Else, we are raising quorum that we do not have the numbers to proceed to do business. Speaker, that is my submission, that we do not have the numbers to proceed to conduct business. So I'm raising quorum. 64-3.
Yes, Honorable Majority Leader. Order 64 has been invoked.
Mr. Speaker, I'm sure the appropriate presumptions will apply until the processes, it was raised 10 minutes ago. I've been around, I didn't hear the bell ringing. And I thought that at conclave we had a gentleman understanding. At conclave we had an understanding that we will do these things today. Honorable Habib was there. We agreed that we will take these matters. These are very simple, non-contentious. You were there, yes. So we agreed to do these things. Oh, the statement. We'll vary the order of business, make the statement again and comment.
No, honorable members, the truth be told, at the conclusion of the statement, I will look up whether a member is on his feet or her feet to comment on the statement. I saw Honorable Professor Kinsley Nyako, who all of a sudden resumed his seat again. So, honorable members, at the point I indicated statement time is ended, there was nobody on his feet to comment on the statement. I do not know what the delay was. You see, I guess that we were expecting comment from my right when the statement was made by a member from my left. And there was nobody on his feet either from my right. I have not seen anybody from my right on his feet. Our members, my attention has been drawn to quorum, particularly Order 64. And Order 64.4 is clear as to the procedure. I therefore direct the clerk at table to cause the bell to be rung for the required minute. And it is then that we can proceed to take decisions. So, clerk at table, may you ring the bell. In the meantime, we proceed to debate the second reading. Yes, Honorable Dr. Kabiru.
Mr. Speaker, the Finance Committee of Parliament met, your committee met to examine the referral, the proposed amendment to the Petroleum Revenue Management Act. Mr. Speaker, the only thing that the ministry is asking from the committee and from your house is to introduce a new provision that seeks to become like an omnibus provision, allowing the minister responsible for finance to come by way of executive instrument, diversify the investment to which our petroleum revenue could be used to give Ghana or to give the good people of Ghana the highest return possible for the resources that we sow. Mr. Speaker, it is important to note that money sitting down or money lying in the account or money idling in one's account is effectively no money, because with time, the value of that money diminishes. And if we are accumulating revenue in our petrol from the proceeds of our resources, and that money is just idling in our accounts,
it doesn't give the group of people Ghana any value. And for that reason, the decision to invest the revenue by way of putting it into some qualifying instruments was very well placed and was a good decision taken by this House in the past. But admittedly, from the report from the Ministry responsible for Finance, our returns is only some, if you like, just to keep the value of the money. It's not giving us any returns that we expected. Mr. Speaker, so the principle of this particular amendment is very well and good. However, the difficulty we have was to the fact that, Mr. Speaker, this provision is so open and it gives the ministry the opportunity to invest in anything that it deems fit or based on the advice from the advisory board. Mr. Speaker, the resources that they are investing are the resources of the people of Ghana. And there are resources that we are supposed to have oversight. Mr. Speaker, after the board advise them and they go to make, they do some bad investment, what happens to the resources of the people of Ghana, Mr. Speaker? And it was for that reason that we argue strenuously and we prevail on the minister to let it be subject to prior parliamentary approval. Because whilst those stated in the law are clear and the minister can go on and invest, the omnibus provision lacks clarity as to what they can invest in. They are just saying that any other qualifying instrument that, based on the advice of the advisory board, the fund can decide to, put the money or to put the revenue or to invest the revenue into. But, Mr. Speaker, that is the problem. And I'm at difficulty to go to sleep, even though I don't have issues as to whether or not Mr. Thomas Ampeme and his boss would do the right thing. But imagine, even if we give them the benefit of a doubt, and let's assume that Mr. John Mahama should do reshuffle and a different Minister of Finance is sitting on the table. What is the guarantee that that minister's judgment and the judgment of that advisory committee is going to be in the benefit of the people of Ghana? It's for that reason that we were of the view that the proposed amendment should rather be, be made clear. The qualifying instrument that the minister thinks that they want to put there, because you cannot say that, Mr. Speaker, you cannot say that you are not getting revenue and you know of what to use the money to give you revenue and you don't want to tell us now what you want to use the money for. Basically, that's the difficulty the committee is facing, and that's the difficulty this House will be faced, because as of now, the minister has not told us what other qualifying instrument they have in contemplation. Mr. Speaker, I think that when you have other qualifying instrument in contemplation, you must let the House know and you must put it into the bill. Or if you want the leeway because of the fluidity of investment, because there are emerging market opportunities, because there are emerging opportunities for you to invest into, then you must also subject it to prior parliamentary approval. So that when you realize that a matter is of importance and that it's going to give revenue to the country, and that when we put our money, we are going to get expected returns, then it should be subjected to prior parliamentary approval. Otherwise, we are giving the ministry a blank check. And I don't want us to give the ministry a blank check. I don't think that giving the ministry a blank check would help. I think that we must put fetters as to what the ministry can do with our money. Mr. Speaker, I'm at great difficulty on that principle. On the principle, investment of our resources is good, but the omnibus and the two blanket a check, that is offered the Minister of Finance, that is offered Mr. Atuforson, it's not good for our resources management. And I don't think that this House should, give that blank check. That aside, Mr. Speaker, the idea, the principle is good, but the offer of blank check is deadly for resource governance. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Member, does the existing law allows
No.
the minister so to do? Or it is this amendment bill
It's the amendment.
that is giving?
It's the amendment. Mr. Speaker, the memorandum following this bill is clear on what the ministry seeks to do under Section 61 of this Act. Qualifying instruments applies to debt instrument denominated in international convertible currency that bears interest or a fixed amount equivalent to interest. An international convertible currency deposit which or debt instrument denominated in any internationally convertible currency that bears interest or a fixed amount equivalent to interest, or a derivative instrument that is closely based on instruments that satisfy the above condition. Mr. Speaker, qualifying instruments are defined. Qualifying instruments are defined by the law. And it was for good reason why in the Parent Act, we define what qualifies for us to put our money into. But they are proposing that when you read the last paragraph of they are proposing, they seek to amend this particular Section 61 to provide for investment of resources of the Ghana Petroleum to other qualifying instruments. So, Mr. Speaker, the blank check is the other qualifying instrument. The blank check is the other qualifying instrument. Because the makers of this law did not want to give the Minister of Finance a blank check, that was the reason why they defined what qualifying instruments are. And when we are now coming to make nonsense of that particular definition that we provided in the Act to say other, it is an omnibus provision. And I think that if the minister has in contemplation certain qualifying instruments which they think our money can get us higher returns, they should let us include that. Rather than just say other qualifying instruments and that the minister may come by way of executive instruments to invest our money into other qualifying instruments. That is the argument we are making, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much.
Honourable members, this should not be taken to say that I'm taking part in the debate. But if you look at the Parent Act, Section 27(1), it gives the power for the qualifying instrument to be done by the minister using executive instruments. And the executive instrument will specify what exactly the minister would have to do. In one breath, we limit the minister, and on another breath, we are giving opportunity to the minister to do so by executive instrument. So it therefore means that if there is a qualifying instrument better than whatever it is spelled out, though the power is given to the minister to do so by executive instrument, it cannot do it. And it is not relating to only the current minister. It will apply to subsequent ministers. So the necessity is that why not provide an omnibus clause to give opportunity to the minister to explore? That is my understanding of this particular bill. So the bill is only seeking to improve the definition of qualifying instrument. Well, I'll open the floor. I saw Governor Ochedako, so Honorable Majority Leader, in the absence of anybody from your back, let me take him and then I'll come to you, then we'll conclude the issue.
Mr. Speaker, under normal circumstances, this shouldn't be a major debate because everybody agrees that what we are accruing from the world funds are not enough. And that's the data that have been brought to us. So everybody is looking at how we can increase that as quickly as possible. But like we all know, there should be safeguards in whichever alternative qualifying instrument we are looking at. Because giving a blanket check to the minister might also be dangerous. Because the EI is just an announcement. And like the principle that Majority Leader this morning espoused, that 2 heads are better than 1. I believe that it makes the whole country safer if they bring it to Parliament to have some conclusion on the new qualifying instruments they might be introducing in the EI. Because the EI is just an announcement. If you take even the way we process LI in this House, by Constitution and by our new arrangement, it is only consultation that is done with Parliament. And then the finality is brought, the changes are done and the final ones is brought into the House. So I believe that even though we want the ministry to take bigger risk, they have to be calculated risk. And I believe that in the current circumstance that we find ourselves, I strongly support the position of Kabiru. That we might have to change it such that it's not just qualifying and open a blank check for the minister to do whatever he wants to do, but at least bring it here. So when we all support him and they send it out there, he has the backing of.
So are you proposing it should be by a legislative instrument?
I was thinking that the amendment should include a session that would say that it should be presented to Parliament for prior approval, because usually they will do a lot of research before they take a decision, and then they go and invest. And I believe that we can skew it such that maybe Finance Committee or the Economic Committee can meet.
In that case, we are going beyond the proposed amendment before us to seek for amendment of the Parent Act, which is not proposed to be amended here. Because clearly, Section 27 is not to be amended. And Section 27 says it must be done by EI. So what this amendment is seeking to do is to expand the scope of the qualifying instrument. Apart from that, this bill is doing nothing. So the principle underpinning the expansion is what we are supposed to debate at second reading. Do you have a copy of the bill? Give one. Give this copy to you.
Mr. Speaker, I believe that the bill is very clear. But in view of the fact that we have all agreed, yes, I've gotten it. Yes. In view of the fact that we have all agreed in the last discussions that we had the last time, that we need to expand it for them to invest in more riskier opportunities, even though they are qualifying instruments. I believe that this new phenomenon needs to be taken care of and looked at. And I think that since we are here, we should find a way to get it reflected in this amendment. And I believe that that should be possible.
Yes, Honorable John Dako.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I've had the opportunity to look at this amendment, and even before that, I realized that the Minister of Finance during the budget presented a memorandum, before the budget, presented a memorandum which this House adopted, and that memorandum sought to do the same thing by asking for expansion of the definition of qualifying instrument to enable the Minister of Finance more or less have more access to petroleum funds than the Act 815 allows. Mr. Speaker, I largely disagree with my colleagues here that even this amendment is okay, because, Mr. Speaker, when the makers of the PRMA in 2011 passed the bill, they had something in mind, and that was to protect the funds for the future generation. And they did so, they made the qualifying instruments so restrictive so that no minister at his whims and caprice will be able to invest our monies into riskier investments. I'm worried that we are trying to take that away from the future generation. If we allow this amendment to pass, what is going to happen is that now the next finance minister He's going to have a blank check. He's going to be able to touch our petroleum funds. And I believe that what Section 27 talks about, the petroleum, Ghana Petroleum Wealth Fund, may be useless at some point, because when the oil is finally depleted, because of risky investment, we may not have nothing. We may not have anything to call the Petroleum Wealth Fund, which is supposed to be used for the future generation. So, Mr. Speaker, even though arguments have been made that we are not making enough money from the investment in its current situation, I disagree. If you look at the 2024-2025 PIAC report, clearly it shows that we've made much more money. I didn't have my report here. I wanted to quote from the 2025 PIAC report. But clearly, Mr. Speaker, if you look at the budget and the report of the 2025 PIAC report, you see that there is clear difference in terms of the monies we've realized from the investment. The budget, unfortunately, and I want to believe that it was an oversight, the budget understates the amount of money we've made from the investment as compared to the PIAC report. And I remember during the debate of the budget, I made this point, that we are trying to change this, and for that matter, we want the people of Ghana to believe that we are not making enough money from the investment. And so let's change it so that we can make more money. And this is going to be very risky. I believe that if we maintain the status quo, it is going to help us and even the future generation. Mr. Speaker, this is my contribution to this. I completely disagree that the qualifying instrument should be expanded. I believe that the status quo should remain just for the purposes of future generations. Mr. Speaker, I thank you.
Yes, Honorable Mama Ayaranga, Majority Leader.
Thank you very much. I think we need to look at fundamentally how is investment done. How is investment done? Investment is not done at the whims and caprices of the minister. Not at all. The Act establishes an investment advisory committee. So the investment advisory committee has a statutory obligation to advise the minister on how to invest. At that stage, Parliament is involved. Parliament is involved because Section 39 says that the minister shall provide Parliament with any advice given by the Investment Advisory Committee within 7 days. Within 7 days. So to all intents and purposes, it is practically impossible for a minister to actually take investment decisions without Parliament becoming aware, to all intents and purposes. And 39(2) says that the minister shall, within 7 days after the re-examination of the decision made under Section 38(5), inform Parliament of the decision. So when he re-examines any decision regarding investment, again, he must inform Parliament within 7 days as well. So your concern about the role of Parliament, in monitoring and keeping an eagle eye on the investment made is taken care of by the requirement of the law of the minister to inform Parliament within 7 days of receiving any advice on how to invest. Now, let's get to your concerns. Your concerns relate to the definition of a qualifying instrument. the definition of qualifying instruments and giving the minister greater room in defining qualifying instruments. But you see, again, if we pay attention to section 27, it says the resources of the Ghana Petroleum Fund and subsequently the Ghana Petroleum Wealth Fund shall be invested in qualifying instruments prescribed by executive instrument. So already the legislation says that the executive instrument should prescribe the qualifying instrument. But that's not even where my focus is. My focus is on 27.2. 27.2 says that the range of instruments designated as qualifying instruments shall be reviewed every 3 years or sooner by the minister on the advice of the Investment Advisory Committee. So it means that even the law contemplates that the range could actually expand as the financial sector keeps innovating and introducing new instruments that fall within the definition of qualifying instrument, the range. So the law did not intend to freeze the definition of qualifying instrument. So even though it goes to an interpretation section and attempts to define qualifying instrument by certain characteristics, all aimed at just making sure that it is safe. It then admits in 27.2 that what it says cannot be definitive of available qualifying instruments, and that there could be a range, and that as the financial sector innovates and bring on board new instruments, the minister every 3 years or even before the end of every 3 years should continue to also revise his executive instrument in order to bring in other qualifying instruments, which may not be defined in this act as a qualifying instrument, because new ones will come and new varieties will emerge, and every time we can come back to this house and say we are amending the definition of qualifying instruments. It is to further this and make it easier that we, indeed, I even think that perhaps there's even no need. Are you getting the point? There's even no need. All the minister needs to do is to say, this is a new qualifying instrument, and come and report to Parliament, because within 7 days you must inform Parliament anyway. But then he felt that there's a need to accommodate that in some more expansive definition of qualifying instrument in the interpretation clause. Because I have had extensive, discussions with him about this. And I said, but if you look at 27.1 and 2, it says there could be a range and that new ones could come. And so within 3 years, if you deem it necessary to change your executive instrument and then bring in new ones, the only obligation is that you must always come and inform Parliament. If you recall, we had a similar problem with issuing bonds when we started, because the requirement of prior approval of Parliament came up. And that was how come we realized that the way the financial market works, you cannot go there, enter into a bond agreement, and then come back to Parliament and come and say that you are going to get approval of Parliament. By the time you get back to the market, the dynamics have changed. So we then innovated and said, look, do you know what? Yes, we will give you an approval. If it is within a certain range, go ahead and commit us. Is that not what we did? So basically, it is that kind of situation where new qualifying instruments are emerging in the market, equally safe, which have the characteristics outlined in 61(1)(a), B, C. You see, that is a general characteristics, and they are characteristics aimed at making sure that it is secure. I get in that, but it is not exhaustive. It is not exhaustive. So the idea is that we should provide this additional D so that any qualifying instrument that the minister may prescribe by executive instrument will further just make the minister comfortable when he decides to go for certain qualifying instruments. So I will urge colleagues that we should focus on the reporting obligations of the minister, that we will always be aware what he is investing in. And if he comes and informs this parliament that I have been advised by the investment advisory committee to invest in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You see, when you make an executive instrument, listen carefully, when you make an executive instrument defining new qualifying instruments, it is not a decision to invest in those qualifying instruments. You've only expanded the range of qualifying instruments. Now it is the advisory committee that will advise on whether even what you have expanded your executive instrument to include should be accepted. Are you getting that? So the minister has issued an executive instrument saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 qualify as qualified instruments. That is not an investment, because he doesn't take the investment decisions. It is the advisory committee that will look at all that, including the new ones that he has added, and come to a conclusion that what he has added is equally safe, and therefore we should invest in it. But whatever the case, when he issues an executive instrument, it becomes a public document. Those of you who are monitoring the work of the ministry will see it. When the advisory committee decides that that new category of qualifying instrument should be invested in by the government of Ghana, that again is something that the minister must come and report to us that his advisory committee has accepted that he should invest in this. We have the opportunity at that stage to say no or yes because we think that there's a problem. So I don't think that there's any real danger, and so I urge colleagues that we should allow this to go, and we should vote and approve the motion that the bill be now read a second time. Mr. Speaker, I so submit.
Well, I'll give the opportunity to the minister to conclude.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the majority leader has made a lot of points, and he's made them clearly. I just want to reiterate that, as he said, Section 27(2) of the Parent Act states clearly that the range of instruments designated as qualifying instruments shall be reviewed every 3 years or sooner by the minister on the advice of the Investment Advisory Committee. Ironically, since 2014, no finance minister has reviewed the qualifying instruments as stipulated in the Act. Dr. Atuforsen intends to implement the law as it is stated. But, Mr. Speaker, if you go to Section 61, it gives the meaning of qualifying instruments. And it defines qualifying instruments to mean A, a debt instrument denominated in internationally convertible currency, and the rest continues. B, an internationally convertible currency, and C, a derivative instrument. So any other qualifying instrument that is outside these three are not defined in this law. So this law will not recognize any other qualifying instrument outside these three, because it states clearly that qualifying instruments means A, B, and C. This same law states in Section 27 that the finance minister must review the qualifying instrument every 3 years or sooner through an EI. Now, subject to 61, yes, but if you review it and whatever new ones you are introducing is not defined here, how do you implement it? And you see, under 39, it puts obligation on the finance minister that anytime he receives advice from the Investment Advisory Committee, he must within 7 days report to Parliament. So Finance Minister received the advice and rushed to Parliament to present the details of the advice he received from the Investment Advisory Committee. And I just want to quote a portion of it. Mr. Speaker, some of the members, in fact, many of the members who spoke, agree that we are not earning enough from the investment so far. And look at paragraph 6. The committee says, our assessment of the performance of the Ghana Petroleum Funds shows that the returns on the funds have been suboptimal due to the narrow range of the qualifying instruments provided for under Section 61 of Act 815. For example, since their inception in 2011 up to December 2024, the Ghana Petroleum Funds have successfully accumulated reserves, closing book value of $1.456 billion, demonstrating a significant effort made to build up the nation's oil wealth for savings and investments. Nevertheless, the Ghana Petroleum Funds have generated a net profit, that is investment income, of $194 million only during these years, representing 13.39% over the period, or an average annual return of approximately 1%. Comparatively, the benchmark S&P 500 index has delivered an average annualized return of approximately 14%. 14% as against only 1%. So it is not in dispute that we are not earning enough. But Mr. Speaker, it is therefore important that we expand this. And Honorable Kabiru, or one of them, was saying that we haven't come to this house to tell you what the minister intends to invest the funds in. That is not the case. When the minister reported to this house, he also stated the advice in details, the recommended addition to the qualifying instruments that the Investment Advisory Committee has given. And that was stated clearly. But for time, I would have listed them for members to see. But, Mr. Speaker, briefly, they gave this advice, and one of them is foreign currency denominated debt instruments issued under government-approved frameworks to finance national energy investments in the following areas. And the B is sovereign and multilateral energy instruments which are denominated in internationally convertible currencies and hold investment grade or equivalent rating. And so all these details were presented to this House. So we are not looking for a blank check, as you suggested. Finance Minister wants to follow due process, wants to follow the law. And so, Mr. Speaker, I want to appeal to all of us. All we are asking for is one line insertion to add in any other qualifying instruments that the minister may prescribe by executive instrument, to allow the minister to issue an executive instrument and list those additional qualifying instruments that the advisory committee has given to him. I so submit, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
At the conclusion of the debate, the question is, as many as are in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The motion is adopted.
An act to amend the Petroleum Revenue Management Act 2011 at 815 to expand the definition of qualifying instruments to include other qualifying instruments prescribed by the minister by executive instrument.
Honourable members, the Petroleum Revenue Management Amendment Number 2 Bill 2025 is duly read for the second time. Yes, Majority Leader.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. Constitution 35. Item 35.
Honourable members, the Petroleum Management Amendment number 2 bill at consideration stage. Chairman of the committee, clause 1.
Section 61 of Act 815 amended.
Any proposed amendment?
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, clause 1. Amendment proposed, paragraph A, subparagraph II, line 4, after rating, insert all.
Honourable members, that is the proposed amendment from the committee. I'll put a question. As many as are in favor of the proposed amendment to clause 1, A, say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The amendment is accordingly carried. Yes, Chairman of the committee. Aye.
Mr. Speaker, amendment proposed, paragraph B, subparagraph II, line 3, after rating, insert all.
Honourable members, this appears to be consequential. It is for your consideration. Honourable members, in the absence of any further proposal, I'll put a question. As many as are in favor of clause 1, B, amended as proposed by the chairman of the committee, say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The proposed amendment by the chairman to paragraph B, subparagraph II, is ordered to stand part of the bill. Yes, Chairman of the committee.
Mr. Speaker, at the interpretation session, we are introducing new D. So the D will read, any other qualifying instrument that the minister may prescribe by executive instrument. Also submit.
Honourable members, it is for your consideration. I'll put a question. As many as are in favor of the proposed amendment, say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The amendment is ordered to stand part of the bill. Yes. Honourable members, I'll put a question on the entire clause 1 as variously amended, as I direct the drafters to tidy clause 1 up. As many as are in favor of clause 1 standing part of the bill, say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Clause 1 is ordered to stand part of the bill. Honourable members, I will further direct the draftsperson to take note of the use of disjunctive or rather than the conjunctive and. Honourable members, long title.
An act to amend the Petroleum Revenue Management Act 2011 at 815 to expand the definition of qualifying instruments to include other qualifying instruments prescribed by the minister by executive instrument.
Honourable members, Chairman of the committee, any proposed amendment?
Mr. Speaker, there's no proposed amendment.
Honourable members, there's no proposed amendment, but it is for your consideration. Any proposed amendment to the long title? In the absence of any proposed amendment, I'll put a question. As many as are in favor of the long title standing part of the bill, say aye. Aye. Those against, say no. The ayes have it. The long title is accordingly ordered to stand part of the bill. Honourable members, that brings us to the end of the consideration stage of the Petroleum Revenue Management Amendment number 2, Bill 2025. Motion number 36. Minister for Finance.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I move that the Petroleum Revenue Management Amendment number 2, Bill 2025 be now read a third time. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, motion move. Any seconder?
Mr. Speaker, I write to second the motion.
Honourable members, motion move and seconded. I'll put a question. As many as are in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Those against, say no. The ayes have it. The motion is accordingly adopted.
An act to amend the Petroleum Revenue Management Act 2011 at 815 to expand the definition of qualifying instruments to include other qualifying instruments prescribed by the minister by executive instrument.
Honourable members, the Petroleum Revenue Management Amendment number 2, Bill 2025 is duly read for the third time and pass. Yes, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, can we go back to item 33, please? Motion 33. Thank you.
Honourable member, you say 32 or 33? What motion did you mention? Honourable Deputy Majority Leader.
Sorry, Mr. Speaker, it's 31. 31, sorry.
Honourable members, the National Health Insurance Amendment Bill 2025 be read second time. Minister responsible for health.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I want to seek your permission to, the Minister of Finance is not here, to seek your permission for the Deputy Minister to do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to move that the National Health Insurance...
Yes, hold on. Yes, Honorable Jerry Ahmed Shaib, my very good friend and classmate.
Speaker, as you can see, Honorable Dafiamoto, Speaker, my colleagues on that committee are saying that they've never cited the bill. That the committee itself, Speaker, respectfully.
See, Honorable Jerry Ahmed, the other papers will bear me out that this is a bill that has been on the order paper for second reading for several weeks. This clearly is National Health Insurance Amendment Bill 2025. Is it not the Health Committee?
Speaker, you also would agree with me that there is a possibility that it finds itself on the other paper, but it may not have gone through the committee. Speaker, it is good for us to be prudent on this matter. At least I know that Kabiru will not lie about it. He's ever present. And I'm not saying anybody is lying, but I'm telling you that this is what Kabiru is saying, and let us not rush. Let's just be careful that we have it sorted.
Mr. Speaker, I am the vice chair of the committee.
Of the Health Committee?
This is financial bill. So
what
the
I have seen
met,
here on the other paper,
the health minister,
the health minister.
The health minister was invited. Honorable Akanda was there. The education minister was there. The finance minister, including all the technical people. We met. We took the decision. But honorable member is a very good friend of mine. Is a very serious person on the committee. But that particular day, he wasn't around. This is the report of the committee. We met. If committee has not met, there's no way a report can be generated. So admit that that particular day, I attended a funeral at the constituency. This is a copy of the report. No, I can give mine to you.
Honorable members, I think we can get to the root of this matter. Honorable members, I will be surprised if the committee never met. They will be able to generate a report, which report will be laid in this house and ordered to be distributed for members, and then the clerks will proceed to program the bill to be taken as second reading.
Mr. Speaker, but I'm quite young in this house. But customarily, even before such reports are laid, leadership of those committees have a benefit of even reading this report. That is the first thing. Even let's assume a moment that this committee sat and looked at the report and submitted the report same to you. We've not had the opportunity of even reading.
Who is the ranking member?
The ranking member is Dr. Amin Adams, and I have his authority. I have his authority on this matter, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Kabiru, this is a house of record. This is not a question where you claim to have the authority of the person and it will be taken lightly.
Yeah, Mr.
If you
Speaker,
place it on the record and it turns out that the right thing has been done, it may constitute a matter of privileges. So we need to be very careful.
Mr. Speaker, I just want to plead with colleagues opposite. You know, following the uncapping and the decision to use 20% of the NHIA funds to invest in the Mahama cares, we in this parliament passed a law which said that 20% of the money should be used for non-communicable diseases. Then again, if you recall, they came here and then we amended the Value Tax Act, in which we tried to confer some benefits if you made the payments, to make some tax deductible and etc. So what we're trying to do now is to go and clean the books in the parent legislation, which is the National Health Insurance Amendment Bill. So it's not anything new that is being introduced. It is trying to sort out outstanding issues based on work that we have already done as a parliament. And there are just a few amendments. And because we're all hoping that we can move fast and pass these things, so that if possible, we can pass the appropriation bill early, and if possible, members can run to the constituencies of those who have international travels, can embark on their international travels. We are pleading with you so that we can just take this. It's just a few clauses, and it's not anything new. Yes. So I'm pleading with you. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
We do appreciate the appeal coming from the majority side, but we have a difficulty. Yes, the difficulty that we have is that we don't have a copy of the report. There is no report on the console. So how do we deal with it? How can we accept?
Honorable Deputy Minority
Yes,
Leader,
sir.
I'm reliably informed and I can see a copy of the report on the console.
Mr. Speaker, I was here with the clerk, and we were trying to find out where the report was on the console. There was no, so they just placed it on the console. One thing I don't really like is that when people are wrongly accused for not being there when the meeting was held.
Honorable Majority Leader, in the circumstances, let's take.
Mr. Speaker, I think in this matter, their arrowhead is Honorable Kabiru. I mean, he reads very fast, Mr. Speaker. And I got an indication from him that we can continue. So, and we will resolve our issues at home.
Then, however, let me take
I said
1.5 minutes.
we will resolve our issues at home.
Let me take 1.5 minutes suspension. And that will also give opportunity for you to digest the reports.
Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, I believe strongly we have resolved the issue. Therefore, I will call on the chairman of the committee. Clause 1.
Section 42 of Act 852 amended.
Honourable Chairman, hold on. The National Health Insurance Amendment Bill 2025 at consideration stage. So the item is rather 31 or 32. So the National Health Insurance Amendment Bill 2025 be now read a second time. So move the motion.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the National Health Insurance Amendment Bill 2025 be now read a second time. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
All members, motion move. I will therefore call on the chairman of the committee to present the committee's report.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity to present your committee's report. I call on the other department to capture the entire report as having been read, whilst attached on a few observations. Mr. Speaker, I turn to page 2 of the report. The head note, improving business competitiveness in Ghana. The committee noted that the bill, if passed, would eliminate the cascading effect of the levy on the citizenry, thereby reducing the cost of doing business and eliminate some other impediments to business competitiveness in the country. The bill will help enhance price transparency and reduce tax burden on businesses. Fiscal impact assessments. The committee observed that the fiscal impact of the bill would result in a loss of revenue to the tune of 1.35 billion Ghana cedis. The committee was, however, assured that the Ghana Revenue Authority and the Ministry of Finance is putting in place vigorous measures to expand the tax net and enforce compliance in order to raise much more tax revenue. Mr. Speaker, this is what we are calling on other members to help us deal with this subject matter. Though the state is going to lose revenue, but it's something that if all hands are put on the deck, we can be able to raise enough revenue to deal with other health-related matters. I so submit, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, motion move and the report submitted. It is for the consideration of the House. Honourable Dr. Kabiru.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the matter before us has to do with the Health Insurance Act and then Health Insurance Levy. Mr. Speaker, the committee is proposing an amendment to set aside or to earmark, for the lack of a better word, to cap health insurance revenue by 20% and use same for the purposes of taking care of Ghana Medical Trust Fund. Mr. Speaker, the idea of national health insurance was conceived and implemented by the former president, John Ajokum Kufuor. The president, though center-right, was clear that we would need a social policy that will address the concerns of the vulnerable in society. The provision of health care was one of the tenets of his administration that he wanted to ensure that every Ghanaian have access to accessible and affordable health care. Mr. Speaker, when health insurance was implemented, there was a need for legislation to have predictable funding sources. And Mr. Speaker, I'm not saying this like I'm saying it because when a government conceives a policy, that government equally must conceive sustainable funding sources for it. You don't throw a policy out. You don't throw a policy out and you are not rushing out the whole place, coming the whole place to see where you can fund it. Mr. Speaker, the health insurance levy was a dedicated funding source for health insurance. Mr. Speaker, apart from that, the former president even added free maternal health care. And these were social interventions, social policies that were implemented. Mr. Speaker, over the years, the health insurance has served the needs of Ghanaians. Before the health insurance, the cash and carry system was the most prevalent, and that people were turned away from hospitals because they could not afford health care. Mr. Speaker, thanks to President John Ajakulu Kufuor, that is now history. That is now history. And that, Mr. Speaker, I even dare say that we don't even celebrate these people enough. That a leader of that nature has taken away a major impediment from health issues. Mr. Speaker, but today, fast forward in 2025, we have a bill. The Minister for Finance brought, in fact, the Minister for Education brought for health brought the Mahaman Care. In fact, the Ghana Medical Trust Fund. When they brought it, we told them that this fund you are bringing, there was no sustainable funding source for it. They said there was. At the end, the funding source was to go and cap health insurance 20% and use the money to fund Ghana Trust Fund. Mr. Speaker, the problem with such a system is that before this House, they have condemned Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta for capping health insurance. They argued the health insurance nearly collapsed because it was capped. Mr. Speaker, what has changed? Because the capping basically was taking money from health insurance and putting it in the center and financing others. But this time around, they are capping it by 20% and using the money to fund another program. What is the difference between Ken Ofori-Atta and Mr. Atufo?
Honourable Member, what is the other program? Mention it for the record. Honourable Dr. Kabiru, you know you are my very good friend. But if you leave it, other programs is a bit vague. If you know the program.
Mr. Speaker, they are capping health insurance to use it to fund Ghana Medical Trust Fund. Mr. Speaker, how will you wake up and announce a program without knowing where you want to fund it, without thinking outside the box to determine a funding source for it? Who does that? It is only under President John Mahama that you find them announcing policies without even thinking about how they are going to fund it. When President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo introduced the free senior school, he was clear in his mind, and he stated that if we are going to use the natural resources, the oil revenue of our country to fund education, it is a worthy investment. He was very clear in his mind. He was clear that he wanted to use the resources of our country to fund free senior high school. To that effect, he made sure that ABFA, the resources that comes from oil revenue to fund the budget, that allocation was what he used to fund the free senior high school. But yet, they argued that there was no funding for free senior high school. Even though that was done, their argument was that there was no funding for free senior high school. The same argument I am putting to you, that you introduce Ghana Medical Trust Fund, and you are going to use health insurance money to fund Ghana Medical Trust Fund. That is the double standards we are talking about. Mr. Speaker, as politicians, sometimes we must be candid to the good people of Ghana. I don't see nothing, there's nothing wrong if government tries to realign government fund to use it to fund Ghana Medical Trust Fund. But that should be put on record that you once told us that there was no funding source for free senior high schools. You once mentioned that government did not have funding source for free senior high school education. Meanwhile, you saw it in the budget. So next time you are on the political platforms, next time you rise before this house to talk, please remember that Ghana Medical Trust Fund has no dedicated funding. You are using health insurance money to fund it. Mr. Speaker, that said, the 20% is going to pose a problem. Non-communicable diseases is a serious issue we are faced with. Every now and then, every single one of us have recourse from our constituents. They are doing dialysis. They are doing kidney transplant. They are having ABC. Mr. Speaker, the cost of this is too unbearable for even members of parliament. The very last one I faced as a member of parliament was a kidney transplant that required $35,000, Mr. Speaker. I'm not sure even the health insurance allowance they give us or project money they give us can suffice for that, Mr. Speaker. One person. Imagine your constituency, you have about 5 of them. How are you going to fund it? So this Ghana Trust Fund, catering for such and related issues, is a very noble idea. It's a good thing. However, it is President John Adjokun Kufuor funding source you are using to fund it. When it succeeds, please, you know where to give the credit to. When it fails, you know where the failure will go to. Because we are provided with funding sources with which you even bastardize. You refuse to give credit. Now you are using that to fund your Ghana Mahaman care. Mr. Mahaman, your medical trust fund has no funding sources. You are using John Adjokun Kufuor funding source to fund it. And I want Hansa to capture that. I want Hansa to capture that for purposes of emphasis. And they'll go around and say that they have introduced Mahaman care. Next movement, in your next life, I hope you will change. Mr. Speaker, I'll conclude on this note. Mr. Speaker, the health insurance have complained. Health insurance is also facing its own problems. And I want the Minister for Finance to think about it. Even with the 100%, they are facing challenges. Now we are going to take 20% out of the 100%, leaving them with 80%. It means that it also comes with its attendant challenges. Mr. Speaker, this is coming on the back of the fact that there has increasing service charges. The payment of the premiums to service providers by 100% or 200%, if my memory serves me right. It means that more cost is coming to the fund. So we have to begin to think about how do we then address any emerging challenges that will come following this decision to amend the health insurance fund. Mr. Speaker, with these few words, I want to support my colleague that we consider this proposed amendment, and that when they get away with this, I hope they will not sin again, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much.
Yes. Let me take Honorable Dapila. You have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to make some few submissions. Mr. Speaker, the first one is that the health insurance, the medical trust fund, the 20%, is money that will still be used for medical issues in the health sector. Unlike previously, the capping that was done, the money was sent to consolidated fund account, and it was used for various activities, including the national, the hole, including the grave, the hole that they dig, the dug. Mr. Speaker, including the National Cathedral. Mr. Speaker, all I want to say is that when we talked about policies or programs without funding. The Honorable Member of Parliament for Walwali should not have been the one to be saying this, because they announced free senior high without funding source in this country. But in this case, what we are doing is that the 20% is money that is still meant for the health sector. It is still to solve health programs, not any other programs. So for you to make this submission, it is good we let you know that the money, and let me also add that when you cap the fund, when we cap the fund, we are doing 9.something billion, 9.9 billion this year, 2026. So out of it, if we are taking part of it to go and still solve health-related issues, I think it is still not out of place. And the NHIA is doing 62% increase in funding. So you need to support it and don't argue the way you are arguing. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Jerry Ahmed. Yes, Honorable Che.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And as I contribute to the debate, I want to make 4 things very clear. The NDC manifesto talked about uncapping the NHIL. It also talked about the Ghana Medical Trust Fund for non-communicable diseases. Then it talked about free primary health care from cheap compounds to polytechnics. It also talked about expanding health infrastructure. Mr. Speaker, unfortunately, uncapping the national health insurance is something that we all support. But we were expecting that this uncapping and the extra fund, that 20%, could have gone into expansion of medical infrastructure, health training, vaccines, and the rest. Unfortunately, it's not happening. For me, it's like robbing Ghanaians of Peter to pay Paul. The 20% that we are taking from the uncapping of the National Health Insurance Fund is what we are using to pay for the medical trust. It's just renaming. It's just like trying to cut your own tongue and chewing it. It's just renaming that we are renaming the same fund.
Honorable Member, the Ghana Medical Trust Fund, the diseases that are covered, do we agree that it is also a health concern that needs to be addressed?
Mr. Speaker, exactly so. That is why when we're talking about...
So don't you agree with me that this is quite different from, for instance, capping the national health insurance to go and support sports?
Mr. Speaker, I know Mr. Speaker wouldn't want to debate me but contribute to the discussion.
I'm not
Mr.
contributing.
Speaker,
I want our contribution to be clear to the general public. Because if you said to use it for other things, it creates the impression as if whatever they are going to use it for, it is not health in nature.
Mr. Speaker, if the House do remember correctly, during the Medical Trust Fund debate, I stated where does the NHIS ends and where does the Medical Trust Fund ends and where does the primary health care ends. That's what we are saying, that it's a matter of improving on the national health insurance, because non-communicable disease is also a disease. And in managing, it's a matter of systems. Mr. Speaker, remember, the Medical Trust Fund that we have set up, we are also going to set up a system that has to interface with the national health insurance. It's also extra cost. It's just renaming. So in the first place, the Medical Trust Fund was not needed. It's a matter of improving on the national health insurance, because primary care, which deals with prevention, and you go to managing normal disease and the non-communicable. So it's a stream. Diseases doesn't end anywhere. You can't end one part. So we believe that it's just a matter of renaming that is happening here. We would hope that the uncapping of the national health insurance should rather commit extra funds. That because you want to improve on primary health care. we have commit that funds to be able to take care of entire primary health care and non-communicable disease. Notwithstanding, Mr. Speaker, unfortunately, the 20% that was on CAP 2025, what has happened to that funds? What has been spent? What they need to do a proper update of how we spend these funds before we add on. And also, have we got a proper costing of the medical trust fund? No, we have not been able to cost it properly. But we are saying we are taking 20%. We ask these questions. All the questions that we asked during the debate, they are coming back to bite us. So for us, I support the call that it's just renaming of one fund that we are trying to cut into pieces and renaming parts of it. Why can't we improve on the national health insurance system instead of having another system that will be forced, bringing actuaries to be able to see how these systems will interact? And I believe that, Mr. Speaker, the government need to commit more funds. We need to have more funds towards health because even with the budget we have for 2026, we're still below the recommended international standards. So what we are asking that, in as much as we are supporting it, it will be good that the uncapping should rather be fully committed to the national health insurance and find another source to commit to the medical trust fund. Mr. Speaker, with this, I support this bill. Thank you.
Honorable Felix Kwachi Ofosu.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I lend full support to the efforts to amend the National Health Insurance Act to reflect the changes that this government has introduced. Mr. Speaker, there are a few misconceptions that must be cleared, even as we work towards passing these amendments. The first is that it is untrue that taking a part of national health insurance money and channeling same into the Ghana Medical Trust Fund, popularly known as Mama Cares, means that there was no funding source. The National Health Insurance Levy is a funding source. The truth is that, unlike when they capped the NHIS and diverted the funds into as yet unknown expenditure, this time we have been upfront to the people of Ghana and they know exactly where the funds we are taking out of the NHIS funds will go to. Can Kabiru tell us what they used the money they capped the NHIS for? If we said today that they used it to build a national cathedral, can he dispute it? He doesn't know. Oh, but let me make my point. You mentioned President Kufuor's name. You mentioned President Kufuor's name as he responded to what you said. Mr. Speaker, unlike them who operated opaquely, we are being transparent. They have said that Mahama Cares was a key manifesto promise. So I wonder why they would have a problem with its delivery. Mr. Speaker, if you use NHIS money to finance a health-related activity, it is in order. Because chronic diseases or non-communicable diseases have become a major issue. The National Health Insurance Levy, as it is currently structured, is unable to take on the load. So a special dispensation needed to be created to address this. And Mr. Speaker, the people of Ghana are exceedingly excited that the financial burdens that they used to incur are going to be addressed through the establishment of Mahama Cares and the use of some 2.3 billion Ghana cedis to address it. Mr. Speaker, it is also not true that we have not made provision for health infrastructure. When my brother spoke, he said that he thought that the money we were taking from the NHIS will go into health infrastructure. When the finance minister came to this house and read the budget, he indicated that 3 regional hospitals are going to be constructed in the regions that do not have them, especially because they created 6 regions and made no provision for such infrastructure. Again, my brother is fully aware that the guidelines that were put together to govern the disbursement of the District Assembly's Common Fund has in it provision for at least 2 CHIPS compounds for every district. So we are talking in excess of 500 CHIPS compounds that will be constructed once the guideline is adhered to. And I am aware that that work is currently ongoing. At least in the AAK district, we are on the verge of completing the 2 CHIPS compounds, which is vital health infrastructure for people who live in rural communities. It is also a key plank of the strategy to introduce free primary health care, because that was also a major campaign promise. Free primary health care would normally take place in a CHIPS compound up to about a polyclinic. So those claims cannot hold. And then finally, the notion that the NHIS was implemented under President Kufuor is not entirely true. We know that the pilot started under the Rawlings administration. They left mutual health insurance schemes. It was the NHIS Act of 2012 that nationalized it. Mutual, exactly. It was the NHIS Act of 2012, which is captured in this report, that made it national. And then, Mr. Speaker, talking about sources of funding, was it not VAT? Was it not 2.5% of VAT that they used to finance the expanded national health insurance scheme? Who introduced VAT? I was not a schoolboy. I was not a schoolboy. I understand fully that you took money from VAT, the same VAT that you staged the Kumi Preku demonstrations against. So talking about taking money from sources that already exist, you are the guiltiest party. And I wonder why you have a problem with a government that is seeking to streamline health financing to alleviate one of the biggest problems that we have in this country, which is non-communicable diseases. So those records must be set straight. And with those few words, Mr. Speaker, I am on all fours with the effort to ensure that the Mama Cares program is adequately funded to the benefit of the people of Ghana. I thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Jerry Ahmed Shaib.
Speaker.
But honorable members should take note that when you choose to respond to matters that are not on record, your response will be captured on record. That is the risk. You speak to matters that are not on record, but your response will be captured on the record. And if tomorrow somebody is reading the Hansard, you know the person's mind against whoever placed those things on record. Yes, Honorable Jerry Ahmed Shaib.
Speaker, I want to thank you for this opportunity. Speaker, I want to respectfully comment on this report. And Speaker, by doing so, I want to make a reference to the object of the report. Speaker, this is what it says, respectfully.
Object of the report.
Of the bill, sorry. Speaker,
yes.
Of the bill, sorry. And Speaker, this is what it says. Just a second. Yes.
Sorry.
Yes. 4. Speaker, sorry. What I saw. Speaker, let me defer. I'll get back to it because I took note of that. Speaker, Speaker, that is what it is. The object of the bill is to amend the National Health Insurance Act 2012, Act 852, to allocate 20% of monies of the National Health Insurance Fund to the Ghana Medical Trust Fund and to allow deductibility of the National Health Insurance Levy. Speaker, my question is simple. Why are we amending and taking money from National Health Insurance just for the purposes of running another trust fund, medical trust fund? Which trust fund? And why do we need a trust fund in the first place? When national health insurance has been active and effective. Speaker, in 2003, President Kufuor mooted the idea of getting the national health insurance. And it was vehemently opposed by our brothers on this side. Speaker, it was opposed to the extent that they didn't want to know what he was going to cover. And Speaker, in 2007, we were in this Ghana when we came promising that we were going to have a one-time premium. Speaker, what happened to the one-time premium? Speaker, it vanished with the fire that he deserved. Nobody talked about the one-time premium. Speaker, as we speak, the LIMS is not working. When you go to the medical centers in Ghana, the doctors will tell you that they do not have records of you, the patients. They don't. Speaker, what is operating as we speak now is the cash and carry system.
Honorable Samson Ahin, Deputy Minister for Trade, why are you up?
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. My colleague said that in 2003,
Honorable Member,
President
which order
Kufuor
are you
introduced
standing?
health insurance.
Which order?
President Kufuor
Which
never
order? Under which
introduced
order?
health insurance.
Under which order?
President Kufuor introduced mutual health insurance.
Honorable
which
Member,
restricted
under which order are you coming?
To particular districts. If you
Honorable
registered at
Member,
Draboso district,
Honorable
you are
Samson
supposed to use
Ahi,
it only in Draboso.
Honorable Samson Ahi,
Mr. Speaker,
yes.
Order 1221. And Mr. Speaker, what I'm saying is that
So order 122, order 1221 allows you to interrupt the debate.
Yes.
Based
Mr.
on
Speaker,
certain
what I'm
conditions.
saying is that-
Which of the conditions are you invoking?
why are you disturbing me? Mr. Speaker, can you allow me to flow? Mr. Speaker, 1221C, it says, by a point of information, elucidation, or clarification.
Honorable
That is what
Ahi,
I'm
you are
seeking to
right.
do.
Please, you have the floor.
Mr. Speaker, my colleague said that in 2003, former President Kufuor introduced health insurance scheme. And I'm saying that that is factually incorrect. President Kufuor in 2013 introduced mutual health insurance scheme. Mr. Speaker, 203, what it meant, Professor Mills introduced national health insurance, which made it possible,
Honorable Kabiru, Honorable Jerry, there is no rules that allow you to take point of order against point of order.
Oh,
Honorable Samson
Speaker,
Ahi, you have the floor.
we need to set the record straight. Mr. Speaker, we need to set the record straight. And what I'm saying is that President Kufuor introduced mutual health insurance scheme. He never introduced health insurance, national health insurance scheme. Because at that time, if you are from Draboso and you registered as a mutual health insurance scheme member, you cannot use it in the next district. You cannot use it in Bibiani district. You couldn't use it in Kumasi or any part of the country except in Draboso. Professor Mills came and they made it national health insurance scheme, which allowed anybody who registered in Draboso, irrespective of where you find yourself in the country, you can go to Nungwa Hospital and access health insurance facility. So, Jerry, be advised. And Dr. Kabilu, if you don't know, this is what happened. MPP never introduced health insurance. MPP introduced mutual health insurance scheme. Be guarded accordingly. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Jerry Ahmed, you were on the floor. Take the information provided and then proceed accordingly.
Speaker, it's unfortunate that we allowed my respected senior to perpetuate untruth on this matter. Speaker, unless, and I know he's been in this house for long and therefore should have known or ought to have known, if you check, you would know that the Ghana National Health Insurance Scheme was officially established by Law Act 650 in 2003. Please take notes, and when you go home, go and revise your notes on that. Speaker, let me proceed to deal with my germane issues. If you do not have the information, please go and check and stop disrupting proceedings unnecessarily. Speaker, we are here today to let you understand that if we should just think of implementing or executing campaign promises without considering the general well-being of the people, we would always come back to square one. I have indicated that this House, we also had past presidents make promises, including a one-time premium. That one-time premium, we cannot find it anywhere. From Bandai to Lejokuku, we cannot find that one-time premium. Speaker, when you go to Wale Wale, there was no one-time premium. When you go to your constituency, Speaker, there was nothing like one-time premium. Speaker, we are dealing with a lot of problems with reference to those who are working in the health sector. Our nurses have not been paid close to 7 months. They haven't received salaries close to 7 months. Speaker, more than 120,000 people who applied to be nurses have not been taken. Speaker, as I also speak with you now, more than 12,000 people's jobs within the health sector, they were revoked, their appointments were revoked. But you found the need to say that you are coming to establish a Ghana Medical Trust Fund, rushing just to fulfill a certain campaign promise. And you know what is happening? You are taking 20% of money from National Health Insurance that you seriously and vehemently opposed, that Kufuor brought to the fore. Now, to go and use that 20% to go and support another fund. When you know that whether it is communicable disease, whatever disease, you would have had the same and better treatment under the National Health Insurance. What are we doing? What are we looking for? Why are we being discriminatory about everything? Why are we pursuing propaganda anywhere and everywhere? Speaker, you have this opportunity to pay right now when you go to any medical facility. And I'm telling you, and I've raised this issue last week, I raised it last 2 weeks. When you go to any medical facility, you pay before you are taken care of. When you are a woman and you are pregnant, when you are carrying a baby and you want to deliver, the cesarean section, you pay. It is between 5,000 to 9,000. You are not solving all of these problems. You have just sent a paltry amount of money to say that you are taking care of Agenda 111 projects. What are we doing to ourselves? Is it the same thing we are doing? As we speak, when you go to Wejagbawi, the pediatric hospital, which is new, which is almost done, you have not commissioned it. You have rather left it to go and do what? Ghana Medical Trust Fund. And when you go to the whole of Greater Accra, you only have the Princess Marie Louis Hospital, which is a children's hospital. What is stopping us from prosecuting this infrastructure, Agenda 111, to finish them? What is stopping us from working on the Jagbawe Pediatric Hospital? What is stopping us, Speaker? All we see is that we come back and we come and do the usual politics. Speaker, for me, I believe that we should think through this thoroughly. Agenda 111 is a project that when we are able to look and finish it, it will go to the benefit of the Ghanaian people. Speaker, if we are able to extend national health insurance to say that it should cover communicable diseases, there's nothing, absolutely nothing wrong with it. What is right with it is that it is already working and it's working well. So we can now expand. As I speak with you, a lot of the staff from the National Health Insurance have been taken to Ghana Medical Transfer to do what? What are they going to do? If you have the capacity, why are you lifting people from National Health Insurance and sending them to Ghana Medical Transfer? Speaker, to wit, what are they going to do there? They are already working. They are working in the National Health Insurance. They are well assigned roles and responsibilities. They go and come and they have their tasks well assigned to them. All we are doing is propaganda, perpetrate propaganda, left, right propaganda, wherever you pass, propaganda. Why? Why do we want to feed on propaganda? Is everything going to be propaganda for the Ghanaian people to suffer? Stop the propaganda and do the work. Speaker, with these few words, I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Yes, Honorable Roxanne Nelson Kwame Eche Dapamako.
Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity to set the record straight. Mr. Speaker, Act 650 specifically provided for a district mutual health insurance scheme. Mr. Speaker, in section 11 of the law, 11A, it created a district mutual health insurance scheme for the benefit of the members of the district. In section 104, which is the... Please, I was very quiet, Mr. Speaker. I was very quiet and listened to them. Speaker.
Honorable Toby, why do you take delight speaking across? Your voice is so loud. It is part of what game? Is it part of the second reading? It's part of the game. Please.
Speaker, in section 104 of that law, which is the interpretative section, mutual health insurance scheme was defined as follows. Speaker, with your leave, let me read. It says a mutual health insurance scheme means a community-based health insurance composed of members of the community in the relevant district and operated exclusively for the benefit of the members. Mr. Speaker, so what the Honorable Ahi said was actually the accurate set of facts. The 2012 Act 850 was what actually established the National Health Insurance Scheme. Please, Jerry, please. The 2003 Act may have carried the name, the nomenclature national, but the beneficiaries, but the beneficiaries were persons who were limited only to utilizing the benefits in the district from which they originated. So it is the 850 law that made it national, which made a beneficiary to benefit from the scheme wherever he found himself in this country. So those are the material differences between the two enactments. Mr. Speaker, with these words, I thank you for the opportunity.
Honorable Dr. Kabiru, with all due respect, unless you are able to show me the basis for which you should be given the second chance to speak on this issue, I will not grant you the floor.
Mr. Speaker.
During debates, you would have to speak once on the matter.
Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I seek your leave to correct.
Honorable Kabiru, I am inclined not to grant the leave, so kindly resume your seat.
Okay.
Yes, Deputy Finance Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the object of this bill is to do two main things. One of them is to allocate 20% of the National Health Insurance Levy to the Ghana Medical Trust Fund. And the second one is to remove the cascading effect by treating the Ghana Health Insurance Levy as a straight line levy without the input tax deductions. Mr. Speaker, a lot have been said. In fact, listening to the debate, they try to shift the focus and talk about all sorts of things. But I would just want to bring us back to the object of the bill and why we should do this. Mr. Speaker, if you look at the Ghana Medical Trust Fund bill, the act which was passed by this House this year, we, under sources of monies to the fund, decided that we will allocate 20% of total monies allocated to the National Health Insurance Fund to the Ghana Medical Trust Fund. So it is this House that took the decision. We have decided that because the Ghana Medical Trust Fund has already stated that 20% of the health insurance fund should be allocated to it, we should reflect the decision of this House in the amendment of the Health Insurance Act. So we are just doing the same thing that this House has passed. On the other leg, yesterday, when we took turns to debate the treatment of the Get Fund levy, we made this statement, and I want to reiterate, that the decision to reverse your decision in 2018 to treat the health insurance levy as a straight line levy and to disallow input and output tax deductions cost taxpayers dearly. And because of that, today we are reversing it to give some space to taxpayers. And this is costing us. We are losing revenue. More than 1.7 billion cedis of revenue will be lost because of that. But it is a deliberate decision to give back to taxpayers. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, Honorable Kabiru made some statement trying to compare the finance ministers. He asked the question, what is the difference between Kano Furiata and Ato Forsen? Look, the difference is clear. One of them took inflation to 54%, and the other one has brought inflation down to 6.3%. One of them depreciated the Ghana cedi to the extent that the dollar was selling at 17 cedis. Today, the other person has reduced it, has strengthened the dollar to 11.4. One of them, Dr. Kabiru, your finance minister, actually reduced our credit ratings to a junk status. The other one has actually caused our credit ratings to be raised to... So the difference is clear. Never compare the two of them. Never compare the two of them. It is actually a blasphemous statement to compare the two of them because they are not comparable. For one of them, success was borrowing and throwing KK party. The other one wants to manage prudently without even borrowing. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to encourage all of us to support this amendment because it is the right thing to do in the interest of Mother Ghana. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, before putting the question, it is important to draw the House's attention to an observable fact that during the second reading, we are deviating from what we are supposed to do within the meaning of Standing Order 166. Honourable members, the Constitution demands that every bill should be accompanied by a memorandum. At second reading, since the memorandum explains the principle, the rationale, the mischief, what the bill is actually seeking to do, our debate at second reading is centered along that side. It is not about who introduced the National Health Insurance Trust, who introduced the National Health Insurance Scheme. Taking part of the National Health Insurance Trust Fund to National Health Trust is the same as capping and realignment. It is not all about that. It is not about the use of part of the National Health Insurance to National Health Insurance Trust is better than the construction of the cathedral. I believe we are debating the principles. We are not doing a political debate. Order 166 states that where a bill, Order 167, when a motion is moved that a bill be now read a second time, a full debate shall ensue on the basis of the explanatory memoranda and the report from the relevant committee. So the debate should be governed by the memorandum accompanying the bill as well as the report from the committee. I have not seen us doing that, but we take it that it's a period to do a usual politics. Honourable members, going forward, I advise that we should restrict ourselves to Standing Order 167 and talk about the bill on the basis of the explanatory memorandum and the report presented by the committee. I thank you for the opportunity, and on this note, I'll put a question. As many as are in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Those against, say no. The ayes have it. The motion is carried.
An act to amend the National Health Insurance Act 2012 at 852 to allocate 20% of monies of the National Health Insurance Fund to the Ghana Medical Trust Fund to allow for the deductibility of the National Health Insurance levy and to provide for related matters.
Honourable members, the National Health Insurance Amendment Bill 2025 is duly read for the second time. Yes, Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, can you now look at 32, the consideration stage?
Honourable members, National Health Insurance Amendment Bill 2025 at the consideration stage. Honourable members, before moving to the clauses, indulge me to recognize the presence of winners of 2025 National Public Speaking Competition, organized by DD Global in partnership with Ghana Education Service under the auspices of the Office of the Speaker of Parliament. The students or the schools that took part in the competition are Sunyani Senior High School, Accra Academy, Osei Tutu Boys Senior High School, Swedro Senior High School, and Bechem Presbyterian Senior High School. They are led by Beta Amano, who happens to be the National Public Speaking Competition Coordinator. They all numbered 142. On your behalf, I welcome all of them and congratulate them for winning the various awards. May you have a very fruitful visit to Parliament Chamber. Once again, you are welcome. May you humbly resume your seat. Now, clause 1.
Section 42 of Act 852 amended.
Chairman of the committee.
Mr. Speaker, clause 1, amendment proposed, delete all.
It is for the consideration of the House. Honourable members, any proposed amendment? Any further amendment to the proposed amendment? I'll put a question. As many as are in favor of the proposed amendment by the chairman of the committee, say aye. Those against, say no. The ayes have it. Clause 1 as proposed. The amendment to clause 1 as proposed by the chairman of the committee is ordered to stand part of the bill. Now, I'll put a question to the entire clause 1 of the bill. As many as are in favor of clause 1 as amended standing part of the bill, say aye. Aye. Those against, say no. The ayes have it. Clause 1 is accordingly ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 2.
Section 47 of Act 852 amended.
Chairman of the committee.
Mr. Speaker, before I move for the consideration of the proposed amendment to clause 2, I want to correct item 5. If you see the advertised amendment, it reads, the minister responsible for finance. So we are cancelling that one, and in place of that, Parliament shall allocate. So in place of Minister of Finance, I'm replacing Parliament because it is the duty of Parliament to allocate the resources.
So, honourable member, move the amendment in clause 2, and in doing so, you further amend clause 2(5).
Very well, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, amendment proposed to clause 2, as captured by today's order paper, page 18, be taken. I so move. In so doing, our amend 5. So in place of the minister responsible, I replace it with Parliament. Respectfully submitted, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, the amendment to clause 2 seeks to delete and insert the following. Now, in inserting the following, it is further amended in clause 2(5) to delete the minister responsible for finance and insert Parliament. So the new rendition will be Parliament shall allocate 20% of the revenue generated from National Health Insurance Levy to the Ghana Medical Trust Fund. Any further amendment? Honourable members, in the absence of yes, in the absence of any further amendment, I'll put the question to the proposed amendment. As many as are in favor of the proposed amendment, say aye. Those against, say no. The ayes have it. Clause 2, as amended, is ordered to stand part of the bill. Honourable members, clause 3.
Section 48 of Act 852 amended.
Chairman of the committee.
Mr. Speaker, there is no proposed amendment.
It is for the consideration of the House. Honourable members, any proposed amendment? In the absence of any proposed amendment, I'll put a question. As many as are in favor of clause 3 standing part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say no. The ayes have it. Clause 3 is accordingly ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 4.
Section 49 of Act 852 amended.
Chairman of the committee.
Mr. Speaker, your committee has no amendment.
It is for the consideration of the House. It is, however, for the consideration of the House. Honourable members, any proposed amendment to clause 4? In the absence of any proposed amendment, the question is, as many as are in favor of clause 4 standing part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say no. The ayes have it. Clause 4 is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 5.
Section 50 of Act 852 amended.
Chairman of the committee.
Mr. Speaker, there is no advertised amendment.
It is for the consideration of the House. Honourable members, any proposed amendment? I'll put the question. As many as are in favor of clause 5 standing part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say no. The ayes have it. Clause 5 is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 6.
Section 51 of Act 852 amended.
Chairman of the committee.
Mr. Speaker, there is no advertised amendment.
It is for the consideration of the House. Honourable members, any proposed amendment? Honourable members, in the absence of any proposed amendment, the question is, as many as are in favor of clause 6, standing part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say no. Clause 6 is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 7.
Section 109 of Act 852 amended.
Chairman of the committee.
Mr. Speaker, your committee has no amendment.
It is for the consideration of the House. Honourable members, in the absence of any proposal. Honourable members, clause 7, if you look at the marginal note, it says section 109 of Act 852 amended. However, the provision says the principal enactment is amended in section 100. I believe the section 100 should be section 109. So, Chairman of the committee, own the amendment and let's make progress. Chairman of the committee, please own the amendment.
Mr. Speaker, can you take it again? I was not full. 109.
I said, if you see the marginal note says that section 109 of Act 852 amended. So the section to be amended, the interpretation is 109. But the clause is saying that the principal enactment is amended in section 108, section 100. So the 100 should be corrected to read 109.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. So the amendment proposed section 109 of Act 852 be amended, not 100.
So you are amending 100
we are
to
deleting
read
109 and insert 109.
Honorable members, the proposal is to delete 100 after section and before by and insert 109. I'll put a question. As many as are in favor of that amendment say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The amendment is carried. Now I'll put a question on the entire clause 7. As many as are in favor of clause 7 standing part of the bill say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Clause 7 is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 8.
Consequential amendment.
Mr. Speaker, there is no advertised amendment.
It is for the consideration of the House. Honourable members, any proposed amendment? Honourable members, in the absence of any proposed amendment, I will put a question. As many as are in favor of clause 8 standing part of the bill say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Clause 8 is accordingly ordered to stand part of the bill. The long title.
An act to amend the National Health Insurance Act 2012.
Honourable Majority Leader, long title.
At 852.
Mr. Speaker, the main provision that we are amending speaks of the allocation of revenue generated from the National Health Insurance Levy to the Ghana Medical Trust Fund. And if you go to the long title talks about an act to amend the National Health Insurance Act to allocate 20% of monies of the National Health Insurance Fund to the Ghana Medical Trust Fund to allow for the deductibility of the National Health Insurance Levy and to provide for related matters. Initially, I thought that since we're allocating 20% of the revenue generated from the National Health Insurance Levy to the Ghana Medical Trust Fund, the long title should reflect that and say an act to amend the National Health Insurance Act to allocate 20% of monies of the National Health Insurance Levy to the Ghana Medical Trust Fund, same way as it is captured in the main amendment. But I just checked the Parent Act. The Ghana Medical Trust Fund. And I noticed that in the Parent Act, the Ghana Medical Trust Fund, it says fund. It says 20% of the fund. So I think we should drop it and allow the current rendition of the long title to remain. Because that is how it is in the parent legislation, which is the Ghana Medical Trust Fund, Act.
So You are no longer carrying out the amendment. Very well. Then we have to go back and look at clause 2.5, which says 20% of the health insurance levy, and then change the levy accordingly to fund. Clause 2.5, 20% of the revenue generated from the National Health Insurance levy to the Ghana Medical Trust Fund. So, Honorable Minister, in view of the fact that the long title is going to stay, which is categorically talking about 20% of the entire, yes? So let's debate this here.
Mr. Speaker, we need to be careful because the fund is not the same as the levy. The levy is a specific amount of tax, but the fund is the basket that holds both the levy and other sources of revenue accruing to...
So the question is,
yes.
Are you talking about 20% of the levy, which is a component of the fund, or you are talking about 20% of the fund?
But in the legislation, the minister is here. In the legislation, it is obvious that the intention of the minister is that it is a levy, 20% of the levy that should be assigned to...
So in the previous levy, was it 20% of the fund? In the previous law, was it 20% of the fund or 20% of the levy?
It actually said 20% of the fund.
So if it is 20% of the fund, and we are not careful and we use levy here, then whatever law that we are passing will be inconsistent to the previous one that is already passed.
Yes, so we were discussing the need for us to check the repeal provisions in the Ghana Medical Trust Fund Act to see if we will be doing the right thing.
So in the circumstances, I'll put a question
and direct
the draft person.
Yes.
The draft person to reconcile the law, and it will have a consequential effect whether it should be a fund or a levy, so that throughout the law, if it is a levy, then we apply the levy consequentially. If it is a fund, we apply the fund consequentially. Yes?
Mr. Speaker, you have concluded, and I support your conclusion, except that I just want to draw our attention. You see, when we say the levy, then it is 20% of only the 2.5% National Health Insurance levy that will be transferred to the Ghana Medical Trust Fund. There are other sources of funds to the National Health Insurance. For instance, there is a percentage of SNIT that also goes to the fund. So if we say the whole fund, then it is 20% of the total funds to the health insurance that will go to the Ghana Medical Trust Fund. But I feel that the contemplation is 20% of the levy. And so we should, but the confusion is that we need to be sure what the Ghana Medical Trust Fund says. If it says 20% of all the funds to health insurance, then we have to be consistent. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, in the circumstances, whether the word should be a levy or a fund, I will direct that they should look at what in the existing law, which has already been passed, and then apply it consequentially. I so direct the draft persons So draft persons, take note. I will then proceed to put the question on the long title. As many as are in favor of the long title standing part of the bill, say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The long title is accordingly ordered to stand part of the bill. Honorable members, that brings us to the end of the consideration stage of the National Health Insurance Amendment Bill 2025. Honorable members, on that note, I would advise that we defer the third reading of the bill subject to the reconciliation by the draft persons. Thank you very much. Yes, Majority Leader, any indication?
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I don't think we spent 5 hours yet, so I want to move that the House adjourns until Tuesday, midday. Thank you.
Honourable members, there is a motion for adjournment. Any seconder?
Speaker, save that we are not sure whether we are dealing with fund or levy, and the confusion that is boiling is very critical. You are not sure whether you are dealing with fund or levy, and you are looking at a huge amount, but you still want to adjourn. Consider the issues critically before we go home, Speaker. But Speaker, I can see that yesterday you are one man and you did 3 shifts. Speaker, one man, you did 3 shifts, which means that the 24-hour economy itself is going out of coverage.
Honorable Jerry Ahmed, I have the energy. So if you are willing to work,
Speaker, we are willing to work.
Subject to the convenience, if there are items, bring it. We can close at 3 a.m.
They are 38 in number. Speaker, they are 38. Speaker, but for the deference I have for you, I would have insisted on the quorum. Speaker, they are 38 in number. But Speaker, with all that said,
Honorable Jerry Ahmed Shahid.
Our numbers are very
Speaker, with all that said,
Honorable Jerry Ahmed
Shahid. Speaker, I second
you
the
know
motion.
that because of our relationship, I was compelled to place on record that you are my 6th form classmate at Keta Secondary School. Indicative of the fact that you are my very good friend. So, will you humbly second the motion for adjournment?
Speaker, because of this very beautiful relationship, Speaker, and seeing the excitement on the majority leader's face, although he doesn't have the numbers, Speaker, we second the motion that the House be adjourned.
Motion moved and seconded, and it is for the consideration of the House. Honourable members, I'll put a question. As many as are in favor of the adjournment say aye. Aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The only no vote is Honourable Tobin. The motion is carried. And this House is accordingly adjourned till Tuesday, the 16th day of December 2025 at 12 o'clock in the afternoon.